Mets here. For all your Mets here, let's go. Bring it home. Bring it home. Bring it home Make it happen. There's no stopping us now. We're gonna do it again. It's not a question of how. It's just a matter. It's just a matter. It's just a matter of
Hello again, everybody. Joe Piscopo, Shea Stadium. The big story. Mets 86. Exciting, thrilling, awesome. Let's take a look.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to Talking Mets here, Rob. And the New York Mets, that's right, guys, the New York Mets of 2023 finally won a series once again against the best team in baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays. The New York Mets took 2 out of 3 to get one game, to get back under 1 game under 500. And it was in dramatic fashion in game 2. It was a pretty solid game 3 of the series in that rubber game match against the Rays. And now the New York Mets face the Cleveland Guardians to start the series tonight on Friday, May 19th. So the New York Mets finally win the series since the first time in basically a month. And when was that? Against the Los Angeles Dodgers in LA. It was almost exactly a month ago that our New York Mets won a series against anybody, home or on the road. So the New York Mets took a series, and this is when people talk about, the season is over, this is over, that's over, this team is terrible. And again, not saying that the Mets are going to go on a 40-game run here where they're going to go 30-10 or something like that, which is, can that happen? Of course that can happen. Can they go on a special run here? Absolutely. But it shows you, once again, and I continue to talk about this, I've been talking about this since the last 20-plus games of a stretch that they had struggled very, very minorly in, is the fact that, number one, it's baseball. Every day is different. Every game is different. Every series is different. And just a little bit of momentum on one side can change an entire series. And you saw, again, the Mets didn't come out the next day after they came back and won game 2 and put up 13 runs on the board. But you know what? You got another quality start. Go figure. When a New York Mets pitcher goes 6 innings, which has been rare this year, the New York Mets are 9-0 on the season. And that is something that the Mets haven't got a lot of. But when you get quality starts, it gives your offense, no matter if you think it's bad or you think it's a good lineup, it gives your offense a chance to come back in a ball game. And that is something that the Mets lineup hasn't had a lot of chances of doing, right? When you're starting pitching, ERA and runs per game is around 8, it's very hard to win a ball game. I don't care who your offense is. That is number one. Number two is the fact that the Mets, in first time since it only happened twice in history where a team got a game-tying 3-run home run and a game-winning 3-run home run, and that only happened twice in Major League Baseball history. And the Mets were the other time. The last time that happened, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was 2016 when the Mets beat the Phillies on a walk-off as well. So the New York Mets are winning games with power right now. That is basically how they've been. They won game 2, and one of the big home runs yesterday was Pete Alonso, who has 3 home runs in a row in each one of those Rays games, who has 16 home runs on the season and leads Major League Baseball. This is something that the New York Mets needed. And it's not just, for the sanity of us Mets fans, but is mentally helpful and needed for the New York Mets, just mentally, knowing that they can play against a good team. And like I said, guys, I even told Hayden this. I don't know if Hayden's in the stream right now, and I actually said it to him right after the Shea Bridge show on Monday. I said to him, listen, he goes, how many games do you think the Rays, you think the Mets are going to get swept? I go, no, the Mets are going to take 2 out of 3. And, he can vouch for that. I said that because I just had that feeling, the fact that the Mets were basically playing completely down to the bad teams, it just shows you, again, not saying that the Mets played great in the series against the Rays, but you know what they did do? They did not get down on themselves, and it just, the young kids came through. Vientos tied the game, Alvarez tied the game, and Alonso won it. They just played better baseball, and that goes defensively. They pitched better in this series, probably for the first time in about 2 weeks, where everybody in the series actually pitched really well. And that is something that you really didn't need. And it actually shows, well, Todd, are we going to make excuses now? Because if the Mets would have lost the series, we would have been like, oh, see, I told you so. And that's about it. And starting pitching is injured. Well, too bad. They're the best team in baseball. And you know what? They faced the Yankees right before this series, and everybody was praising the Yankees for splitting the series against the Rays. But, you heard it also on WFAN as well. Nobody was giving credit to the Mets for beating the Rays, but everybody was giving a ton of credit to the Yankees who split against the Rays. How does that make any sense, right? The Mets are a bit, according to everybody, are a bad team, but they beat the Rays. But yet the Yankees, who everybody says are on a roll now, hasn't beat the Rays in a series yet. They lost 2 out of 3, and they split a series. So what are we doing here? So the pitching is not injured for against the Yankees, but they're injured against the Mets. All right, they're the best team in baseball. Everybody in the damn Rays lineup is batting over 830 OPS, and they've been extremely good all year. So I don't want to hear an excuse now. Oh, well, their pitching was injured. Oh, okay, that's great. Well, you know what? McGill shouldn't be in this rotation because the Mets have injuries, right? So it works both ways. So at each possible moment when we're going to make excuses for a team that the Mets face, let's use it for everybody, not just because the Mets. And again, the Rays should have beat the Mets easily, right? If the Mets were so bad as everybody talks about, then it should have been a cakewalk, and the Mets should have been swept in this series. How about giving them a little credit when everybody gave them no chance of winning a game in this series? Because I did a poll, and 92% says the Mets have no chance of winning that series. So guess what? A lot of people were wrong. And I'm not saying that this is going to, catapult this team into, winning a ton of games, and they're going to go on a 15-game stretch when they go, 10-5, 11-4, or something like that. I'm not saying that. But it shows you how fast baseball can change in a matter of 3 days, right? Everybody wanted Buck fired. Everybody wanted Epler fired. Everybody wanted the kids up. And guess what? The majority of them are up now. They're all in the lineup tonight. We'll get to the lineup in a few minutes. And they played well in this series. Defensively, they were pretty good offensively. Everybody wanted power. Well, you got it the last couple of days, right? The Mets basically won game 2 on power. All their runs were on home runs. So you got a little bit of that, right? And yesterday, Nobody liked the lineup, but the Mets found a way to win the ball game. Again, they got the game-winning run on a ground ball to third base that fan beat out. That was basically how we won the ball game. But how many games did we win last year when the Mets did just that? So, we're not going to give people credit. We're not going to give a team credit when they win, but when they lose, they get all the blame. You can't have it both ways. Either you give them credit or you don't. And again, give them a little bit of credit because a lot of people expected them to get swept and damn sure did not take a series. They took a series after a very rough stretch against bad teams. All right, well, guess what? Those games are done, right? You can't change it. All you can do is move forward. And for the first series against a stretch of good teams, the Mets are going to be facing a lot of good teams over the next stretch that are at least 500 or better. They got to play well. And they're facing a Guardians team that is very similar to the Mets. And you're going to be like, what are you talking about? Now, the Guardians have good pitching. That's something for sure, right? It's hard to say they don't have good pitching because they do, right? They're pitching the first game of the series. They're facing Cal Quantrill, which, if you guys remember in the playoffs, was the one that was pitching in Game 5 against the Yankees, and he got rocked. Again, he's got good stuff, but he does walk a lot of people, so that is something that we just have to do a better job at the plate. And the Mets in this Rays series did a better job of what they did at the plate. So that is something that is nice to see, and not just with the home runs, but they put better at bats together, which the Mets haven't done over the last 2 weeks, what they did in the Rays series. So the Guardians are very similar to the Mets. They are last in home runs as a team. So they're not going to, again, granted, right? The Detroit Tigers weren't hitting a lot of home runs when we faced them either, and it seemed like every ball that they hit was over the fence. So, but again, right? The Mets were, at the bottom of the league in home runs too, and they've been hitting more home runs than they probably hit in a series against the Rays throughout the season. Probably the most home runs they hit in a series this year. So you take it how it is, and that's why baseball is a very unique sport, right? Prior to the Rays series, the season is over, according to a lot of people. Some people can't watch this team anymore, but I guarantee you they were back after Game 2, right? So that's just the way baseball is. And if you're gonna quit on a team before Memorial Day, then I don't know what to tell you. That's on you. But you know what? Stick with your team through thick and thin. We're Mets fans. We dealt with shit like this our entire lives. And for my life, the majority, almost all of it, right? I've seen 2 World Series appearances, and we lost both of them, and a couple of playoff appearances. So it's not like I've seen 86. It's not like I say 69. I didn't see the Miracle Mets. I didn't see, the 86 team. I was born after that, right? So I've seen a lot of bad baseball. So for people who never seen a World Series should be more negative than people that actually seen a World Series. But guess what? This is why baseball is such a unique sport, because things change very quickly, guys. And all you have to do, and I said this over and over again, when a couple of players on a team, and especially a pitching staff, and just the lineup in general, gets a little bit of confidence, and they get that confidence against according to everybody, the best team in baseball with their record, you get that little bit of confidence, and mentally it changes things. Not saying that the Mets are going to go 10-5 in the next 15, which would be great, but at the same time, you look at it and say, you know what? Maybe this team, all they really needed was quality starts. Again, I just gave you the record. 9-0 this season when a Mets starting pitcher goes 6 innings. We're not asking guys to go 8 here. 6 quality innings. And by the way, in a few of those games, the Mets were behind 1 or 2 runs. So it's not like they were ahead in all those games, right? And then there was another stat. When the Mets score in the first inning, they are 13-2. So it's obvious exactly what they did last year is what they need to do this year. They just need a little bit of help from their pitching staff, because instead of needing 2 or 3 or 4 hits in a row, you just need that one big hit to get back in the ball game. And we saw that in Game 2, right? the first time in 50 years that a team came back multiple times with more than 2 runs down, 2 runs or more down. 50 years it hasn't happened in Major League Baseball. And the Mets did that yesterday. Again, that doesn't mean nothing. But you know what? For a team that was 3 games under 500 or 2 games under 500 going into the Rays series, it was looking bleak. But the Mets found a way to take the next 2 and win a series. And give them a little bit of credit, because all I've heard on WFAN and social media, oh, look how great the Yankees are. They split a series against the Rays. And then when the Mets win 2 out of 3 against the Rays, it's crickets. How is that fair? And that's a double standard that the Mets get. And it's ridiculous. And it's not fair for a team who everybody didn't give no chance in this series to, and they finally win the series. Oh, but look, and all of a sudden everybody starts talking about Lindor, right? Everybody has to find a negative when you win a series, right? All I heard in WFAN today, oh, Lindor. And again, Lindor hasn't been good this year, at least average-wise, right? His home runs are on par for about 20 to 22 home runs, and he's on pace for 100 RBIs. Actually, I looked at a stat that his total, let's see, that I know I wrote this down. Here we go, right? This season, Lindor is on pace for 22 home runs, 50 doubles, and 112 RBIs with 94 runs. All right? So, and again, average-wise, they didn't give a stat for that, but if he hits 250 and he has those numbers, he's right on par with his career average and above average on RBIs. And again, what does this team need? This team needs run producers. Stop worrying about just home runs and worry about run producers. All right? Now, it was great to see the home runs, but we need people who drive in runs. If you have 112 RBIs, I don't care who you are, right? Everybody talks about OPS. OPS is a floored stat because OPS really focuses it on driving in runs and home runs, but never talk about average, right? So if you're going to bring up OPS only, then you're wasting your time. And this is what I hate when I go to Citi Field and they don't show averages. They show OPSs. And that is supposed to be the magical recipe on how you look at a player, which is a joke. The same thing with the WAR stat, which is also a joke. Because everybody loves Edwin Diaz, but Edwin Diaz's WAR was what? A 3.5? So he was a 3.5 game difference when everybody thought that it's the end of the world if Diaz is not on the Mets this year, right? So it's unfortunate that, everybody, a lot of people didn't care about this team and we're done. And now, the same people that are saying they were done were commenting on the same tweets that people were talking about after the games. So, again, be a bandwagon fan. But if that's what you are, then why complain if you're a bandwagon fan? So you only jump on the bandwagon when things are good, but when things are bad, you're already off the bandwagon, and that's about it, right? And that's okay. If that's who you are, that's who you are. But stop complaining when things are bad, and then when things are good, there's nothing to say. Because I seen it on Twitter. There's a Twitter thread all the time, Mets Twitter, that the same people are bitching and moaning about every little detail, and then when they win, you don't hear a peep from them. And then and that's and again, that's most sports fans. But you know what? I'm not on Guardians Twitter, okay? I'm not on White Sox Twitter. I'm on Mets Twitter, and I also follow Yankees Twitter, right? You see the same thing from them. So before you kill a team, look at the main problem this team had. Everybody likes to talk about the lineup. It's not all about the lineup, because as soon as you get a quality start, and I just said this to you, the Mets usually win ball games. So get a quality start. We got Carrasco first time back on the mound. And again, people will be like, oh, Carrasco is going to be terrible. He might be. But he talked about it last year when he got those bone chips. He was a completely different pitcher where he was getting sharp pains. He even said it in an interview before today that his elbow, just like last year, it felt like sharp, like somebody was stabbing him in the elbow with a knife. That's the pain when you have bone chips. So I can assure you, even if you're not a pitcher, that hurts. And when he doesn't have that problem and he got those injections, if you notice his last start, he was throwing a little bit harder. And his breaking ball was extremely sharp. I don't care about the numbers at the minor league level. I don't care about that of his pitching stat. But what I saw was increased philosophy and sharp breaking balls. And Carrasco, he's up there in age, but he's still a guy. When I see a veteran out there, if he feels good, I think he's going to give you all you need. This team only needs a quality start, right? 9-0 when they get 6 innings from their starters, and that's with a lead or without a lead. They get a quality start, 6 innings, which I consider a quality start. 6 innings, 2 runs is a quality start nowadays in Major League Baseball. When the Mets get that, they win ball games. And when they score first in the first inning, they're 13-2. So when somebody scores first, if they give up a run or they get a run, as if they score first, they score in the first inning, they're 13-2. That is their record. So just think, a small thing like that could have changed this record if things would have worked out a little bit better. And again, I still think it's more about quality starts than it is about the lineup. When the Mets can still, on average, just score 4.5 runs per game, you can win ball games because we've seen it last year. All you need is quality starts, and you give your offense a chance to come back in a ball game like yesterday. Right, we were down 1-0, like on Thursday, or right, what's today? Wednesday, sorry. Right? I'm sorry, Thursday. And that's where you have to go. What the hell's today? Whatever day it was, right? When we came back from when Alonso hit the home runs, when the home runs were to tie the game and win a game. That's what the Mets have to do. So let's go through the lineup before we get started, guys. The lineup will be scrolling on the bottom of your screen. So the New York Mets, obviously facing the Guardians. Cal Quantrill on the mound for the Guardians, and Carlos Carrasco, first time back since he got injured, on the mound for the Mets. The Mets record is 22-23. So the New York Mets lineup for today, I really like this lineup today, and I'll tell you why after we talk about it. So we got Brandon Nimmo leading off, of course, playing center field. We got Francisco Lindor batting second, playing shortstop. Jeff McNeil batting third, playing second base. Cleaning up Pete Alonso, who has 3 home runs in the last 3 games, batting fifth, playing first base. Brett Beatty batting fifth, playing third base. Salamonte, right field, batting sixth. Mark Vientos batting 7, playing right field. Mark Hanna batting 8, playing left field. And rounding up the lineup, Francisco Alvarez batting 9th and catching. What I love about this lineup, look how long it is. Look how deep this lineup is. You know, it's amazing what happens when, you win a couple of games and you see guys like Alonso. You see guys like Nimmo catching on. You see guys like McNeil playing a little bit better in the Rays series, right? McNeil got a big hit in the comeback in game 2 that catapult this team to winning that ball game. And you see it a little by little when a couple of guys get on a little bit of a groove here. It makes the lineup look extremely different. And look, yesterday we won a game when we had Vogelback and Escobar. And it was like a veteran lineup, and nobody was happy with it, but the Mets found a way to win. So I love this lineup. It stretches out the lineup, and that is what the Mets need. The Mets need a little bit of length in this lineup. And again, let's see if Marte can get going a little bit between Beatty and Vientos, which is a nice spot to put Marte, because I think he's going to see some pitches here, and I think that's going to help him out. See what Canna can do. Canna has been hot over the last 5 or 6 games, so that's a good thing. And we know about the kids with Vientos and Alvarez, who hit big home runs a couple of games ago. And, that builds up your confidence. And all these guys need a little bit of confidence, know that they can perform in the big leagues, and it can make all the difference in the world. So once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. We are here, right here, 1 game over 500. And look, the Mets are in this division. The Mets are in a wild, right next to a wild card spot. So all you need is 3, 4, 5 wins in a row here, and you're right back in everything. Even though the Mets, as bad as they've been, have been extremely lucky that the National League has been just as bad. The teams that you're chasing, the teams that are next to you or behind you, have been bad, and the Braves haven't been running away with the division. Got to remember, guys, as bad as the Mets have been, the Mets have not been more than 8 games out of first place this year. Right? They actually gained a few games considering the fact that they played so bad, because the Braves haven't been great. They've been, decent, but they looked human. And I'm not saying we're going to win a division here, but let's be honest, guys. Is the division the only thing that matters in Major League Baseball anymore? I think we should know better than that, right? If you pay attention to enough baseball over the last 6-7 years, just get in, baby. That's basically it. And again, Jimmy, it's the best lineup of the year. I agree with you. I love this lineup. But no, actually, Geraldo, the DH is that who the hell's the DH? That's a good question. I didn't even see that part. Give me 1 second. I didn't even check that part. I didn't really care, but let me check. Let's see what we got here. Hold on 1 second, guys. Let me just make sure I got it right here. I'm just curious. Let's see. All right, let's see. So the game's about to start, but let me just check something, guys. Vientos is the DH. I'm sorry, that's right. The Vientos is the DH. Can is playing left field. I believe I kind of messed that one up on the board over here, but let me just fix that really quick for you guys. All right. So obviously, you get Alonso playing first base. Vientos is DHing. And Can is playing left field. All right, now it's correct. All right, there we go. I know I wrote something wrong there, but all right, there we go. So, yeah, we got Vientos DHing. Obviously, we got Beatty at third base. We got Alvarez behind the plate. So, the lineup is very good. But again, the Mets won one game with the kids, and they won one game with veterans against the Rays. So, I love this lineup. Don't get me wrong. I like this lineup. But that doesn't mean it's going to translate to offense. And tonight is Friday at Citi Field. So, the Mets are in their black uniforms, which I'm a big fan of because I grew up in an era where black uniforms were the era, right? You know, late 90s, you know, for up until like 2010, 2011, until they stopped, like 2014, 15, about 13 probably, when they stopped wearing the black jerseys. But I love this. I love those jerseys. It's always one of my favorite jerseys. And again, I know people don't like them all the time. But hey, I'm just saying. But those are one of my favorite jerseys. But the game is about to start. You guys know the drill. Hit on that like button. We're going to get the game audio, SNY, Gary Cohen on the call. And the Mets are going for 3 in a row. And it would be very nice if you can win the first game of a series because you got 2 opportunities to win another series. So with that said, Mets Guardians game 1 with Carlos Carrasco back on the mound for the Mets. The Mets are getting a little bit healthier day by day with this rotation and a couple of guys in the bullpen as well. As you've seen, Raleigh is back as well. So let's get this background in order and we'll get game day ready to go. So here we go, guys. Let me just share my screen. Going to put up the volume. Let me know in the comments if you guys can hear it. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to get started here. Game's about to start. All right, guys, here we go. Let me know in the comments, guys, if you can hear it, and we'll be ready to go.
Nice to see Marte in the lineup after getting hit by the pitch. Stephen Kwan leads off for Cleveland. First pitch by Carrasco is in for a strike and run.
All right, here we go.
Kwan had himself a terrific rookie season last year. Won a Gold Glove, established himself.
Kwan, again, Guardians team is the team that puts a bat on the ball, doesn't strike out a lot, but also don't hit a lot of home runs. So we'll see how this goes.
Same level this year. Very tough hitter to strike out. And Carrasco misses away with a fastball. It's 1-1. Stephen Kwan last year, the first 122 pitches he saw and swung at, he did not swing and miss. 122. 122? That's a lot of at-bats. Right? And Carrasco misses inside with the fastball, and it's 2-1. Kwan, then Rosario and Ramirez against Carrasco, who's facing Cleveland for the first time. It's the only team in the majors he has never faced. It's been 11 years with Cleveland. Those first inning numbers we just put on the screen for Carrasco are reflected by this entire staff this year. The opponent has scored first against the Mets in the last 12 games. Ties the franchise record for most games in a row where the opponent has scored first. And Kwan punches one in the air.
Pops it up.
Retreating is McNeil.
All right. One out. Here we go.
First out of the night. Nice pitch by Carrasco, getting in on Kwan. Now I'm at Rosario. He was interested to hear what reaction he would get tonight. And it's a tepid one. Ahmed spent 4 years with the Mets, over 400 games. He had himself a terrific year last year at 283 with 11 home runs. This year, he's been down a little bit, 247, 1 home run. And he gets the first pitch back.
There's a base hit up the middle. I'm at Rosario. Back at Citi Field, along with Andres Jimenez for the first time.
Pitch does exactly that. And the Guardians have their first base runner.
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Paying attention to the throw at bat, very spread out. Doesn't really take a step, just squishes that bug with his front foot, pushes it down, and a BB up the middle. But a lot of fastballs from Carrasco to Kwan, so Rosario was ready.
Rosario's got 7 steals and 7 tries. The Guardians second in the American League in steals. Figured to do a lot of running in this series. Here's Jose Ramirez, their best player, and he takes outside ball 1. Ramirez really the face of this franchise. He has spent 11 years with Cleveland. He's in the second year of a 7-year deal, and he's going to end up being one of the great Cleveland players of all time. If you go back the last 7 years, Jose Ramirez has more extra base hits than any player in Major League Baseball. He has 433 extra base hits the last 7 years. Nolan Arenado is second on that list with 414. The switch hitter who hits wonderfully from both sides, and he takes a changeup away from Carrasco 2-0. Ramirez was on the bereavement list the last 3 days. His grandmother passed away, so he was back home in the Dominican Republic, rejoined the team here in New York. 4-time All-Star. And even more significantly, 5 times now in his career, Jose Ramirez has finished in the top 6 in the MVP ballot. He has been one of the great players in the American League year after year.
And he full-pitch walk to.
And now Carrasco has a situation to deal with, first and second, 1 out. Well, we mentioned the Guardians second to last in the American League in runs scored. They're last in home runs, 13th in on-base percentage, 15th in slugging percentage. One thing they do very well, though, is run.
They run, they put the ball in play, as you see Rosario talking to Lindor at second base. The home run should be no surprise, though. Last year they were 29th in baseball. Only the Tigers hit less.
Well, Josh Naylor has been their best home run hitter. He's got 6 this year. He had 3 game-winning shots in the last week.
Geraldo, thank you for the super chat, buddy. I appreciate it. Thank you.
On Tuesday night, missed the last 2 games, but back in the lineup tonight.
All those home runs, 3 in a row in the 8th inning.
Big, strong left-hand hitter. First saw him with the San Diego.
All right, Carrasco's got to start throwing strikes here.
Quantrill, who's been on the mound tonight for San Diego, came to the Guardians in the same trade with San Diego. 6 straight out of the strike zone from Carrasco after the base hit by Rosario. And Naylor slices one foul, 2-1.
Big player in that trade that went from Cleveland to San Diego with the centerpiece. It's only Mike Clevenger, the right-handed pitcher, who got hurt straight away.
And now is with the White Sox, who the Guardians just played. White Sox won the first 2 of that series. Guardians won yesterday, a typical Cleveland win. They won it 3-1.
Ball 3.
Pitch well. They put the ball in play. They try to scratch out runs. And right now, Carrasco giving them a little boost.
You know, everybody, one of the kept Jimenez and Rosario to combine. They hit 27 home runs, and Lindor had 25. So
Wants to swing that bat.
Well, it's 3/4 of the trade right there. Rosario, Lindor, and Carrasco. Missing Jimenez. That's driven out to right.
and that is gone. 3-0 Cleveland. Quality starts. That's what the Mets don't get. Not a good start. And, of course, a team that doesn't hit a lot of home runs, but one of the hottest hitters is Josh Naylor, and he gives Cleveland a 3-0 lead, guys.
One power threat in that lineup, and he comes through with a 3-run homer.
Naylor is the only one who's been red hot for this Cleveland team, and he just crushed the ball right down the middle. But you can't get behind in counts and come up with a fastball right there. Josh Naylor has been the hottest hitter in Cleveland's lineup over the last week.
The Mets' first inning tumbles.
Well, the
continue.
first inning has been a
13
problem.
straight games, a new club record in which the opposition has scored first. Just Josh Bell. And he takes a fastball out of the strike zone for ball one.
Well, Isaiah, as bad as good as the Braves have been, the Mets find their way only 6 games out, which is hilarious to me.
Bell takes a fastball strike.
Andre, really? Carrasco will get released? Who are you going to put in? Peterson? There's nobody else. There's no more depth.
The Padres last year signed as a free agent with the Guardians for 1 year. Takes a splitter down, 2 balls and a strike. Well, it's 41. I think it's 41 to 10 actually in the first inning. I'll have to get that updated. Mets did score a first inning run yesterday. Hold on the ground foul by Bell, 2-2. But you get the picture. 41 to 10 is pretty lopsided.
I mean, it just makes it really difficult on your ball club each and every night.
Well, Andre, you still got 2 months until the trade deadline, so you ain't trading for nothing.
That's all.
And again, who are you trading for pitching? All the prospects you were going to trade are all up here helping us. So I don't know what you're trading for a solid pitcher.
Bell takes that one down, and it's 3-2.
And it's counterintuitive to what the Mets have done best this year. When they score first, they're 13.
Well, I told you the stat. When the Mets score first this year, and when they get a quality start.
The opposite way. Bell's guys won the
That's a
center.
pop-up, should be 2 outs.
Super Nimmo.
Well, Andre, I mean, wonderful. I've seen many minor league pitchers that pitch really well in the minors and don't pitch well in the majors. So, no, he doesn't pitch better right now. You don't know that. And can we just stop talking about minor league pitching who are not ready at all? Like, let's be honest. Basil, yeah, he looks good in the minor leagues, but why does that always translate to the majors? Because we can't do. You're not going to just throw a kid out there like that. You're just not doing it.
Had himself an all-star season last year. Hit 287, 17 home runs, 20 steals. Also won a Gold Glove at second base.
Rocky, what free agent pitchers? The Mets got the best one on the market.
7-year
Just saying.
contract extension. He's after the high fastball, misses 1-1. And it's played 49 games for the Mets in 2020 before they traded him, and you could see that the talent and the instinct for the game was there. I don't know if anybody thought he was going to be a guy who would hit 15 to 20 home runs. But he certainly
I get it.
Last year he could do that.
Basil has been pitching good in Binghamton, but again, it is AA, guys. Let's not act like he's pitching in the major series. He's pitching in AAA.
Attacks him with a high fastball, he fouls it back. Carrasco was probably going to be limited in how deep he could go into this game, and had 25 pitches deep in the first inning. Had 2 rehab starts. The last one on Sunday for Binghamton, he threw 52 pitches, trying to work his way back to a full start.
And he strikes out Jimenez, but not before Josh Naylor, who's been the hottest hitter in Cleveland's lineup. And basically the only guy actually showing power as of late. And he takes Carrasco deep to give a 3-0 lead to the Guardians, and the Mets have to come back once again. Again, I told you this stat before the game. 9-0 when the Mets get 6 innings from their starter, no matter if they're leading or not, when they get a quality start. Again, I consider a quality start 6 innings, 2 runs. But, what Carrasco has to do here, and again, look at Carrasco's career, especially with the Mets. In first innings, he's absolutely terrible. And they even showed that stat prior to the inning, that Carrasco's first inning is close to a 6 ERA, and then he's much better after that. But, if he keeps it to 3 runs and can get through 5 innings, it's not a quality start to me, but Carrasco, he's not the same pitcher. We all agree with that, right? But it is also his first game back, right? We do remember that Verlander gave up 2 quick home runs to the Tigers, right? And then pitched a good game. Again, I'm not putting Verlander and Carrasco in the same category, but it is the first inning, right? And it's his first game back within, a month? So, and, not saying that Carrasco is going to be good. I didn't say that. But again, It's his first start back, and we're expecting the guy to be good right out of the bat. We'll see. Well, Frank, I understand that. The Mets have been the worst team in baseball with that. Again, they got to be better with that. But again, the first inning doesn't determine, a baseball game. Unless you give up 7-8 runs and you got to come back from that. But again, the Mets were behind in the first 2 games against the Rays, and they came back and won. Again, I'd love to see a 0 on the board, but that doesn't tell the whole game. And let's see if this Mets lineup can put some runs on the board and give Carrasco a little bit of help here. We'll see. Quantrill is not a great pitcher. He doesn't throw very hard, so the Mets can come back in this ballgame, or at least hope to come back in this ballgame.
They're 3-0 in his last 3 starts. Something to look at. He threw 107 pitches in his last start against the Angels. Last 25 starts, he is on his own, 13-2.
1-1 to Brandon Nimmo leading off. Nimmo snapped an 0-for-16 stretch with a base hit his last time up yesterday.
Danny, how you doing?
His 50th hit of the year. That puts him 8th in the National League in base hits. Lindor and McNeil to follow.
All right, 3-1 to Nimmo. Again, Quantrill does not throw hard, right? And you got to be patient with him.
Swing and miss the sinker from Quantrill, and it's 3-2.
He's got a 2-seamer that runs, but his pitch.
Alexander, how you doing, buddy?
Is his cutter.
Quantrill now 28 years old.
And Nimmo strikes out.
Nimmo with the sinker.
Nice sinker on the outside corner, 1 out.
For the Guardians, this evening.
Jimmy, it does sound like that. Again, it hasn't been pretty. Now, it would be nice if Francisco Lindor can get going against his old team. That would be nice. Got to get him going here.
One of the fastest men in baseball, Miles Straw. Francisco Lindor, his first ever at bat against the Cleveland team. Spent 6 years in Cleveland, hit 138 home runs. And he punches one towards
and
short,
right to the shortstop. 2 outs.
It off for the second out. So Quantrill easily disposing of the first 2 hitters. And
Jeff McNeil coming out with 2 outs.
Jeff's hit in 5 straight games. A really good series against Tampa Bay. The home runs by Vientos, Alvarez, and Alonso took center stage in that win Wednesday night, but McNeil had a great at-bat to set it up. And Texas strike. We fought off Pete Fairbanks a couple of times before he dumped one out of right center field. And Alonso did the rest. And that cutter runs up in the end, and it's 1-1 to McNeil. Cal Quantrill's dad, Paul, pitched most of his career in Toronto, and so Cal was born in Port Hope, Ontario. Dad also spent some time as a Yankee, right? So he lived in the New York suburbs for a while. Then went to Stanford.
And, that's a quick trigger right there. I don't think he went 2-2.
Really? Cena never did that, right? So Cal credits his coach in travel ball, Rybrook.
4-3, full count.
Great pitching now.
And of course, it's our producer, Greg Vicker. Problem was they played up because Cal was a little older, and then Cal's dad got traded, he left, and they got smushed all year.
And they called strike 3 on another low pitch. That pitch looked down, and there was a pitch on the outside corner, but McNeil strikes out, and the Mets do not score in the first inning once again. And Guardians lead 3-0, going to the top of the second. Once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. And I want to give a shout out to Sean and Leslie. They were awesome, and the parents as well. They were generous enough to buy a ticket for me yesterday to go to the game with them, coming down from upstate, and they were awesome, and I appreciate them hanging out with me and spending the game with them, and they were really good people, and they were awesome, and I wanted to give a shout out to them. I do really appreciate it. I had a good time with them talking baseball and just talking life in general, and all of them were just extremely nice and happy, and good people and Mets fans. So can't hate that, right? So Sean and Leslie, I do appreciate you guys taking me to a game and also hanging out with me during the game as well. I do appreciate it more than you know. So shout out to Sean and Leslie. Hopefully you guys are watching right now. And I saw Sean text me earlier, and but I guess we're not happy right now with Carrasco, but we'll see. Again, Jimmy, I'm glad you brought the umps up. Right, the same pitches that Carrasco they were calling balls on, they're calling strikes. Right, that pitch was low to McNeil, and also a pitch outside that was a ball. Well, yeah, Ken, I agree with that, but I mean, like, it's just annoying because like those pitches weren't strikes right there with the strikeout to McNeil and that outside pitch to McNeil and a couple other pitches to the other batters. But you know, again, the Mets have been terrible offensively this year in the first inning. No, exactly, Ken. And yeah, Jimmy, exactly. So again, you got to overcome it. You know, the umps are terrible, and you know it's very noticeable around baseball. All right, top of the second, and see if Carrasco has a better inning here. Again, Carrasco as a Met has been terrible in the first inning, and basically his career, he hasn't been good in the first inning. So let's see if he just keeps it to 3 and gives this Mets team at least 5 innings.
Those guys who they always say you can't steal first base. So he'll butt for hits, he'll draw some walks, trying to get aboard. It's just 221 last year, 231 this year. And he skies that one toward the gap in left center field, and that ball's going to go off the wall. VENMO plays the carom, and Straw pulls it.
Straw gets a leadoff double.
Sorry, Miles. 7th double of the year for Miles Straw, and it comes leading off in the second.
I think you must be talking a little louder tonight, Gary. He heard you.
Miles Straw played the entire season last year, almost 500 bats, never hit a home run. He has not hit a home run this year. That's about as close as he comes to hitting a home run.
Halfway up the wall.
You got to watch out because he'll steal third. There's Will Brennan, the right fielder, hitting 8th in the order. So the Guardians, who have not had much offensive punch this year, have shown some off in the first 2 innings against Carrasco. 3-run homer by Naylor at the first, and that long double by Straw to start at the second.
Carlos.
The Hartford Yard Goats. Change up misses away, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, he got a fastball to hit. Watch the side swing. Little leg kick there. Got the foot down early.
That's a nice sinker. Splitter by Carrasco.
Let's see. Miles Straw in his career has 5 home runs. 4 of them came in 2021, the other one in 2018. Little tapper.
Ground
Carrasco
ball.
off the mound. That'll advance the runner.
And advance the runner, 1 out.
Trouble getting out of his glove.
Again, this is what the Guardians do. The Guardians do exactly what you seen the Mets do last year. They bludgeon you to death. They basically play a lot of small ball, move the runners over. They're very well at doing that.
We have had fans of the game from everywhere. Infield in now for the number 9 hitter, Cam Gallagher. Gallagher had the go-ahead hit for the Guardians yesterday in their game against the White Sox.
Mets infield is in, of course.
How big a deal was that? Well, Cam Gallagher, before that base hit yesterday, was in an 0 for 34 stretch. Hadn't had a base hit in a month. And he lines that one to left field.
And that is dropping. 4-0 Guardians.
And that'll bring in another run. So he's hot now. Straw comes in to score, and that makes it 4-0 Cleveland.
Well, a good pitch, and he fights it off and gets it to the outfield, and cannot reach it.
He had his first hit in an 0 for 34 streak because he gets this fastball that jams him, but he's a big, strong kid, and he dumped it in front of Canna. But the Guardians had not had a base hit from a catcher in the entire month of May.
And Mike Zunino, their number 1 catcher, is 0 for his last 27. So here's Stephen Kwan. And he slaps one down to third. Beatty
could be a double play, and it is. And the Mets get out of the inning with giving up another run. So 4-0 Guardians. And yeah, again, guys, this is a Cleveland Guardians, and again, this is funny to me because their catchers were like 0 for 50, and they hadn't had a hit in May until yesterday, where they got a hit and a couple of RBIs from their catcher, and they got another RBI and a hit from a catcher today, and that's it's amazing. Well, Ken, it was a good pitch. If you look, it was inside, and he got it on the inside of the bat. So, he jammed him just, from a 070 hitter. It was a good piece of hitting. He basically powered it to left field. Again, I said it before the game. Not saying Carrasco is going to be good, and clearly he's not right now. How long are they going to keep him in? I mean, he's close to 40 pitches already. So, I mean, I don't think he was going to go 5 anyway, so I don't know. But you know what? Again, this is a Guardians team that don't hit a lot of home runs. I know they hit a home run, but Josh Naylor is basically him and Ramirez is the only 2 guys in that lineup. And even Ramirez is not a big power guy. He's more of an average run producer guy, but not a lot of home runs. Josh Naylor has been the hottest hitter in the lineup for the Guardians. Yeah, Melly, I mean, I agree with that. But he did have, I believe, 3 rehab starts. And look, you got to be better than that. Like, there's no excuse for that. Like, it's his first time back in the majors. Got to be better than that. But again, he got hurt by walking people, right? He got hurt by not throwing strikes and putting people on base too. No, Ken, it wasn't down the middle. If you look at the replay, it was inside. Again, if he didn't swing at it, it was going to be a ball. So it wasn't a pitch that was close to the strike zone. He just got enough of it. So, bottom of the second, 4-0 Guardians. See if the Mets can try to get some runs back and try to get back in this ballgame early on. Mully could be nervous, but he is a veteran. But we'll see. Not a good start. I mean, these umpires are ridiculous. Like, Alonso didn't swing in that last pitch, but it looked like he swung. Again, I think these umpires are guessing. I swear to God.
Great spot. Home run leader, Pete Alonso. National League RBI leader, Pete Alonso.
And Alonso pops it up. I love how people say, oh, they got a DFA Carrasco. Okay, great. Who's coming in? You want Peterson again? Who's been giving up like 7 runs per game? Like, who do you want? That's what I don't understand. Like, great, get rid of him. You want to get rid of him? Fine. But who are you replacing him with? You have nobody ready in the minors. Even the young kids, they're not ready yet. And the only guy that's basically available, with Dylan Bundy, who has a 10 ERA in the minors, David Peterson, who's been terrible this year, you're replacing him with terrible. So there's not much you can go by here. And Beatty hits a ball down the line, and it should be a double. That's first hit of the game for the Mets. There we go. So a 1-out double for Brett Beatty. Nice piece of hitting on a low inside fastball. Nice piece of hitting by Beatty, but as a left-hander, a low pitch is your best friend. Okay, Jason, but who? What quality pitcher are you getting at this point in May? You're going to get a guy, if you get a pitcher, you're going to get a guy with a 5 or 6 ERA. That's what's available right now. You're not getting anything better. So I don't know who you trading. Don't tell me Vogelback because you're lucky to get a bag of balls from him. Like, I just, you got to come up with an idea or a player or a pitcher that can be got by not giving up anything. That's not happening, especially right now in the middle of May.
Marte takes Sicker out of the strike zone. That's 1-1. Marte had a really good series in Washington, but just 1 for 7 in the series against Tampa Bay.
Starling.
And he holds up the swing, and he stopped it in time on the Sicker. 2-1.
Well, watch this motion. He's a tall, lean kid. kicks it in with that back foot first, high leg kick, and long stride to the plate. Straight over the top for Quantrill.
Swing and a miss, and it's 2-2. Well, the Indians and now the Guardians have done such a great job of nurturing starting pitching. Quantrill was a sometimes starter, sometimes reliever.
And Marte strikes out. 2 outs.
Marte with changeup, and that's his third strikeout.
Well,
But the
Milan, that is the whole point. You know, people are like, oh, DFA this guy, DFA that guy. Trade for who? Who are you trading? Again, 3 of the 4 kids are up. What are you going to do? That's what I don't understand. Jason, that doesn't mean he's going to come, though. Again, Ohtani's not helping you today or even this year, so it's pointless to talk about him. And Vientos, ground ball. And the inning is over, and the Mets do not score in the bottom of the second. 4-0 Guardians. Well, Mullet, the Phillies they've been just as bad as, I mean, at least the Mets, you know, had a 14-7 stretch in the first 21 games. The Phillies basically has been, you know, let's be honest. They haven't lived up to the hype yet either. And again, the Phillies have a little bit more, you know, something to lean on since you made the World Series last year. But let's be honest, you're basically the same team right now, right? I mean, and that's the only thing that the Mets have to you know, lean their heads on right now. Right? The National League is not good. And that's the biggest reason why the Mets are actually less than a game or less than 2 games out of a wild card spot. I think it's a game and a half. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's a game right now. And for all their woes and all their problems, they should be 13 games out of the division, but they're only 6.5. So it's not like nothing's unreachable, right? You go on a 10-game stretch where you have a good 10 games, you're back in everything. So okay, Jason, wonderful. And I don't think the Angels are trading Ohtani. I think that's a big freaking pipe dream for everybody who wants Ohtani. But again, great, Jason. You're going to get Ohtani. So that means you got to give up Beatty, you got to give up Vientos, and Mauricio. Okay, so you give basically 3 guys in your starting lineup for Ohtani. So you're losing 3 guys to get 1 guy. Ohtani's not going to make a difference on his team, guys. If Lindor doesn't hit, if Marte doesn't hit, and you only got Nimmo and Alonso hitting, this team's not winning anyway. Again, stop talking about Ohtani. Ohtani should not be talked about. And by the way, the Angels are in a playoff spot right now, so Ohtani is actually a pipe dream no matter what. You got to understand that, guys.
Access exclusive content and much more.
Well, Milan, when have the Angels been smart? And again, Artie Moreno is a guy who's all about money, right? He's making a fortune by having Ohtani on his team. I'm telling you guys, he's not trading Ohtani. He's not. Because in his mind, he thinks he can still sign him.
He picks off the outside corner 1-1. Ronnie mentioned Carrasco's velocity. Last year, his average fastball velocity was 92.9. This year, in his 3 starts before he got hurt, it was 91.1. So down almost 2 miles per hour. Today, he's been more in the 92, 93 range, which is what we saw a lot of last year.
Ground ball right to Alonso, and 1 out. Well, Jason, again, we can all love pipe dreams, right? You know what? I would have liked a couple of guys, right? But again, not everything's possible. Just because you want a guy doesn't mean it's possible, especially this year.
So you either have to deal with it by giving yourself rest or deal with the pain.
Well, Carrasco sat out a couple of weeks, then started throwing again. Got the 2 rehab starts for Binghamton. And he gets that curveball in for a strike to Ramirez. I mean, Carrasco last year was able to get great extension, and that's why his split change was so good. In 2021, when that elbow was barking, and it was more problematic. So we don't know the state of that right now.
Nice
There's a
pitch.
good change up, and it's 1-2.
When people talk about velocity, they first go to the fastball. They don't understand that if you lose velocity, you lose spin rate.
Exactly, Muttley. You know, there was Met fans that wanted Soto, which was another pipe dream because the Nationals never traded him to the Mets. But Soto has been terrible for the Padres.
1-2 coming to Ramirez, and he taps that one to the right
That
side.
should be 2 outs. And, ooh, that was close. 2 outs.
Ramirez, 2 out. We check in with Steve Gill. Steve?
Oh, guys, I was talking to Carrasco
Jason Hill get it.
yesterday about the
And
difference
he's probably not going to get
between
$40 million a
this
year.
and the ones that he experienced a couple years ago.
He's going to get a little bit more of a team-friendly deal. Going to get paid well, but he's not going to get $40 million.
The difference this time around is that it's only one. Doesn't make it much less painful, though. He said that it felt like there was a knife.
Yeah, Jason, but again, that doesn't – again, where are the Padres right now? They're not playing well either. So, yeah, he's batting 260, but he's a 290 hitter in his career, 300 hitter in his career. So what you traded for isn't what you get, and that's a pop-up. Should end the inning without a run. How about that? And a 1-2-3 inning for Carrasco. And you said he couldn't pitch. Well, Jason, that's what I'm saying. Like, again, you know what? Soto was more of a pipe dream because the GM of the Nationals said he has not traded him to the Mets. So people who are fascinated by that and why the Mets didn't do it are great. So we wouldn't have Beatty in this lineup, Vieto in this lineup, or Alvarez in this lineup because what the Padres gave up is basically what the Mets had to give up. They gave up their top pitching prospect and one of their top shortstops. Were the Mets going to do that? Probably not. Yeah, exactly, Amit. And Dylan Bundy has a 10 ERA and got caught for sticky stuff as well. Well, I mean, Jason, for all we know, Correa could have been better with the Mets. Who knows, right? But you know what? Who knows, right? You don't know how people are going to perform. Oh, Cunha's having an MVP season. That's for sure. Well, Muttley, exactly my point, right? Right? Everybody, right? If you talk to anybody, right? I guarantee you 3 weeks ago, you could have said to Met fans, oh, well, does San Diego have a better lineup than the Mets? 95% would have said yes. Yet, that lineup just lost to Kansas City. So guess what? That's why baseball is baseball. And the majority of the time, you're going to lose 60 games and you're going to win 60 games. There's rare occurrences where teams, maybe 2, maybe 3 teams, are going to have under 60 wins, but not, and that's very few teams. So you just got to manage. And again, the solace that the Mets have, and that goes for the Phillies, that goes for the Padres as well, that the National League has not been as good as last year at this point. So, and that's where the Mets are. Again, the Mets are benefiting just like the Padres, just like the Phillies. They're benefiting from a start that hasn't been good in the National League. All these teams that are supposed to be contenders are benefiting from bad starts from other teams in the National League.
The series against
Mark Hanna is up.
And he pulls one on the ground foul, and it's 0-2. Francisco Alvarez on deck, and then Brandon Nimmo, 8-9 and 1 of the order against Cal Quantrill. Gave up a double to Brett Beatty in the second. It's been the Mets' only base runner thus far. Quantrill misses down with the slider, and it's 1-2. Quantrill, first round pick by the Padres out of Stanford in 2016. He was the 8th overall pick in that draft. And a high changeup gets
And Canna strikes out
for the first out.
No, last inning we saw Ramirez, who I think is one of the most underrated players in the game, hustling to first base just ahead of the play. Nice.
Well,
play.
Ken, that's a good point.
And last year in spring training,
Muttley, exactly.
Called him in. Said, listen, I don't know what kind of team we're going to have, but we're young. We're going to have Kwan in left field. They will play hard if you play hard. I need you to show the way, and he did.
2-team mobile coverage, Cam. You know, Ramirez is one of the best players in baseball, and that's just
just think of it, guys. You got the Arizona Cardinals, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Miami Marlins in a wild card spot. Does anybody believe those teams are going to be in a playoff spot in June or July? Maybe Arizona, but Pittsburgh and Miami probably not. So, like, what are you really chasing here? You know what I'm saying, guys? And that goes for the Padres and that goes for the Phillies as well.
his 3-run homer that tied the game in the 9th inning on Wednesday night. He fouls off that cutter, and it's 2-2. Cleveland surprised everybody last year. Nobody really pegged them.
LRF, some people, look, Derek Jeter is not in the Hall of Fame because he had great seasons, right? Derek Jeter is in the Hall of Fame because he was a great postseason performer. That's the reason why. And the same thing with Bonds, the same thing with A-Rod. A-Rod basically won the World Series for the Yankees in 2009. And that hits him. So that's a hit by pitch.
Anyway, but he'll take his base on the Mets' 27th batter hit this year. Most of the National League.
Well, he's trying to come in with that two-seamer and didn't start it in the right place. And right off that protective pad, does he have one there? No, he doesn't.
I don't think so.
Just muscle.
He's got the camo
All right.
sleeves.
So 1 out, man on.
Nimmo's
Nimmo's up.
his first
Top of the order for the Mets.
He takes the fastball away for ball 1.
Come on, Brandon. Oh, another.
Strike with the cutter.
Jesus.
It's 1-1. Well, there's the American League Central last year. The Twins were expected to be the champs. The White Sox were expected to contend. The Guardians came out of nowhere and blew the division away.
Nimmo hits one to left field, but it's a pop-up. Cody hit it harder than that. 2 outs.
Step on the warning track. Back to first goes Alvarez, 2 out.
Explosive. Let's be honest. Harvey retired because no team would pick him up. Let's not act like, he pitched well in the WBC, right? Who he was facing basically minor leaguers. Like, let's be honest. No, you made. He's not a Hall of Famer because he hits 200 hits every year. He's in the Hall of Fame because he was a great postseason performer. That is it. That's the only reason. A guy who made the Hall of Fame, Derek Jeter, never hit more than 24 home runs in his career. So it was all about his postseason performance. Nah, they shouldn't have given him a chance. 30 other teams didn't give him a chance. And it's also a guy who he's dealt with allegations as well.
Lindor hit a soft line and a short his first time.
Yeah, I know. I still don't believe Derek Jeter was a great shortstop, but don't tell Yankee fans that. Because he made, nice plays in a hole every now and then, which probably 99% of shortstops can do. He wasn't a great shortstop. He didn't have a great arm. But again, when the lights shine brightest, he was one of the best players in postseason history, basically. And that ends the inning. The Mets are not scoring the third, 4-0 Guardians. But again, I understand that. I understand. If you get 3,000 hits, you're in the Hall of Fame. But again, Craig Biggio is a Hall of Famer because he has 3,000 hits, right? But he played for like 100 years, right? But you got to remember, Derek Jeter just didn't get into the Hall of Fame because of hits, right? 3,000 hits is going to get you in the Hall of Fame. But if Derek Jeter didn't have 3,000 hits, he would be in the Hall of Fame because of what he did in the postseason. Again, look at Derek Jeter's numbers in the postseason compared to his season stats. They're not even close. That's how good Derek Jeter was in the postseason. If you needed a clutch hit, there was nobody you wanted up in that Yankees lineup more than Derek Jeter. That's how Derek Jeter became a monster in the postseason. He just delivered in the postseason. I don't think Derek Jeter was one of the top 5 shortstops in baseball during the season. He never had an MVP. For a guy who has 3,500 hits, who was a great postseason performer, never won an MVP, right? Never had the most home runs, never had the most RBIs. Average was pretty good, but other than that, right? You can say that Judge in the regular season is already a better player than Jeter ever was. And Judge already has an MVP on his tab. But guess what? Judge has been terrible at this point in his career in the postseason. Again, that can change, right? A-Rod was a terrible postseason performer until 2009. Basically helped win a World Series for the Yankees in 2009. So we're going to the top of the fourth. The Mets are trailing 4-0 off of Josh Naylor, a 3-run homer in the first, and another run in the second by the Guardians, and that's how they got the 4 runs. Exactly, Rocky. Exactly. And again, I'm never saying Jeter was not a winning player. Absolutely he was. But let's not act like, Jeter was a great player in the regular season, because he really wasn't. Look at his numbers. They weren't great. If you don't put the name to his numbers in the regular season, he would be an average player. Good player, but not a Hall of Fame player with numbers like that.
And so Carrasco starting to get into a groove, gets the first out of the fourth.
Well, just about
No, Judge is going to make the Hall of Fame. Look, if Judge never wins a World Series and doesn't perform ever in his career in the playoffs, his numbers in the regular season probably will get him to a Hall of Fame. But he might be borderline Hall of Famer, because you don't win a World Series and you're a Yankee and you don't perform in the postseason. That's a big deal.
It reminded me of how things used to be many moons ago.
Who pitched Sunday night in the final game of this series. Andres Jimenez struck out his first time up. Carrasco's now retired 5 straight, all on the infield. And a swing and a miss at a high fastball. That appears to be the plan of attack for Carrasco against Jimenez.
Watching Jimenez in the postseason, the New York Yankees pitching staff really exploited, especially inside and up on Jimenez.
And a comeback.
Ground ball right to Carrasco, 2 outs. Hey, Jake, how you doing, buddy? Again, explosive. 29 other teams didn't take a flyer on Harvey. And in those 29 teams, there's a lot of bad teams that could have used starting pitching. Jake, aren't we all, buddy?
His 1,305 strikeouts is 4th all time, behind Bob Feller, son Sam McDowell, and Corey Kluber.
Won 88 games, lost 73 in those 11 years, 3.77 ERA, and not incidentally also went through cancer and then recovered and came back and was the comeback player of the year. Miles Straw barely missed a home run his last time up. And to put that in perspective, since the start of 2022.
Well, an interesting scenario here. We talk about quality starts, right? After the first inning, Carlos Carrasco has been averaging about 10 to 12 pitches per inning. Only has 52 pitches in the fourth with 2 outs. He could actually go 6 innings. Again, not a quality start if you go 4 runs, but I take 6 innings from him at this point.
So far for the Astros, for all those productive years in Chicago.
And he strikes him out. 54 pitches for Carrasco through 4 innings. But unfortunately, one big mistake puts the Mets behind by 3, and then an extra run to give it 4 runs to the Guardians. So at the very least, Carrasco could give you 6 innings. Not exactly what you're looking for 6 innings, 4 runs, but yes. And Consuelo, absolutely. Again, sometimes you just, Ken, you don't think people are going to, no. Ken, you got to remember, and this is what I give people a lot of hard times for, right? They want to play the kids, but they also don't want to lose. You play the kids a lot. 9 out of 10 times, you're probably going to lose because they're going to go through growing pains. And again, where are the people that, if the Mets struggle this year, who says, I'd rather lose with the kids than lose with veterans? I'm sorry. Losing is losing. I don't care who's in the lineup. All right? You're not going to be happy either way. So I don't want to hear play the kids and lose, because you're losing. That's not going to change the outcome here. I know you are. I know you can. Me too. But you know what? The Mets actually won a game with Vogie and Pham in the lineup. Again, Pham got the game-winning infield single. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, So again, I don't have no problem with the kids play, but know what's going to come with that. Just because the kids hit home runs two games ago doesn't mean that things are just going to work out. They see the Braves. Oh, look what Harris done to the Braves. Doesn't mean that Beatty, Vientos, and Alvarez are going to do the same thing. I think we're way past that fact. All right, so here we go. Bottom of the fourth. McNeil's having choice words with the umpire. Bottom of the fourth, 4-0 Guardians. McNeil up.
Unhappy customer after being called out on strikes in the first by the home plate umpire Will Little. And a cutter misses low and in from Quantrill, ball one. McNeil, Alonso, and Beatty to try and get something going for the
Agree, Ken.
And
McNeil has a fly ball to center. 2 outs. 1 out, excuse me. Well, Ken, I agree with that. They need to play and grow. But people don't understand. People want up the kids because the veterans are not performing. But they also think that bringing up the kids is just going to amount to wins, and that's probably not going to happen. And I think people are not prepared for that. Because when Vientos struggles and Beatty, who's already struggling, and Alvarez, who struggled for a while, you're going to get growing pains. I don't think people are ready for that, along with losing. That's what I don't think people are ready for.
The number of times that Ronnie and I referred to the Guardians by their previous name.
Yes.
I think I have one, and I think that was your first.
That was definitely my first.
So just for history's sake, the Cleveland franchise started in 1901, and the first year of the franchise, they were known as the Cleveland.
And that might be a home run for. Oh wow, he hit it off the end of the bat. Wow, interesting. I want to know where that ball was hit on the bat because that looked like he crushed that ball.
He chose the wrong part of the ballpark. Yeah, the wrong center fielder. 2 out.
Well, Johnny, that's what we're hoping for.
Contact and gets it in the air. You think it's going, but Straw made it look easy. I think that ball just beat him, caught it a little deep, and not out front.
So 2 out and nobody on.
Brett Beatty up with 2 outs.
Hit a double to the right field corner. So they were the Blues the first year. Second year in 1902, they were
explosive.
Broncos. And then
Carrasco was very good last year. So if you look at his, he was our 5th starter and had under a 4 ERA. So he was pretty good last year. So again, I say this to you, explosive. Good trade Carrasco. We could have. Who was replacing him? Peterson?
That was the franchise that lost 136 games as a homeless team in, I think it was 1899.
Ken, you agree with Tierney? Interesting.
Cleveland franchise currently has the longest World Series drought. They took over that title when they lost the World Series to the Cubs. 1948, last time the Cleveland Indians won the World Series. 2-2 coming to Beatty. And a tapper.
Ground ball should end the inning, and it does. Oh, he dropped the ball. And there's an error on Josh Bell, and it keeps the inning alive. Beatty gets on first with 2 outs.
Jimenez took his time, and then Bell just flat out dropped the throw.
Well, Bell said, "My bad," and I agree with him. That ball couldn't have been more perfectly thrown, and just a miss. Nothing else you can say.
We saw Josh Bell improve as a glove at first base during his time in Washington. But every once in a while, prone to that kind of play. It's his second error of the year.
It'd be nice to see the Mets take advantage of a mistake here that they seem to not do a lot of this year.
Every time we see a play like that made, it's a reminder of how good the Mets infield defense has been this year. Mets are in the top 3 in baseball in turning ground balls into outs, according to Sports Info Solutions and their metrics. They do defensive run save. The Mets are a middle-of-the-pack team overall in defensive run save, but turning ground balls into outs. The Rays are number 1, and the Mets are just a shade behind them at number 3. Lindor's had a lot to do with that. He has really been able to shine with the new no-shift rules. 1-2 to Marte, and a breaking ball low and away, 2-2.
And entire time Pete has been here, we've never seen him have a mistake like that.
Beatty at first with 2 down, 2-2 to Marte. And Starling takes inside.
Oh, that hit Marte. So the Mets got 2 on with 2 outs.
The Quadrille has hit in the last 2 innings. And the Mets have 2 men on for Vientos.
All right, Mark Vientos coming up.
That's a changeup that rode in.
And you know what's funny, Ken? The same people who had really good pitch recognition last year and had good at-bats are guys like Marte. And you know what? Even Lindor was better last year with pitch recognition, getting on base a lot more with walks. You know, it's weird. It's crazy to me that the same guys that were counting on last year for pitch recognition and good at-bats are not having them this year. So Vientos is up. See if we can capitalize on mistakes and some 2-out RBIs here. That'd be nice.
Vientos DHing tonight. 59 career games as a DH in the minors. 271 with 9 home runs. He pulls that
Ground ball. Oh, nice play.
On the backhand, races Beatty to the bag.
Hit hard by Vientos, but a nice play by Ramirez at third with the backhand and the final out, and the Mets do not score. 4-0 Guardians going to the top of the 5th. Ken, I guess so, but am I really going to kill the hitting coach for Marte, who can't even put the bat on the ball? Like a veteran? Like, you know, I don't want to hear veterans and the reason why they're not hitting because of a hitting coach. Right? I mean, at some point, if you're a veteran, don't you just do what you got to do? I guarantee you a no-name hitting coach is not going up to a veteran and saying you should do this differently. If they're listening to them as a veteran, I mean, you're wasting your time. And I don't think it is. I just think, look, Marte's underperforming. Again, I still think Marte is hurt. That's just me. Like, I mean, the way Marte has been playing on the field tells me that Marte is hurt. That's just me. I don't know if it's his core issue. Again, he had multiple surgeries in the offseason. He had the groin surgery. He had the 2 core surgeries in the offseason. I think he's hurt. That's just me. So I just don't think that Marte's healthy. For me, I think Marte's telling the Mets he's healthy. Probably lying. I think Marte's hurt, to be honest with you. Again, no excuse for Canna. No excuse for Escobar, even though Escobar is basically a bench player now. But Canna, there's no excuse. He needs to be better, right? You know what? Ken has killed Nimmo over the last week or so. Nimmo hasn't been playing as well. He hasn't been getting on base at a pace that we were used to seeing Nimmo at. Lindor is a shell of himself right now, right? You know, even when Lindor was in a stretch where he wasn't hitting last year, he was finding ways to get on base for Pete Alonso last year. So, you know, that's basically the difference in the top of the order right there. You know, Marte's out of the 2-hole, which everybody wanted, right? The Mets took Marte out of the 2-hole, put McNeil in the top 4, and the Mets are still struggling. So what else can the Mets do? Explosive? It could be a possibility. Could be. Injuries and being 30, 34? Yeah, could be.
Last year came up late in the season, played just 11 games, but was on the postseason roster. He was, and played quite a bit in their 7 postseason games. Takes the pitch low, and it's 2-1.
So he would still be a rookie this year then.
57 pitches for Carrasco. I believe he pitched 75 pitches in his last start in the minors, so that's probably what you're going to get from him here. I agree, Hector.
Predicated on making contact, multiple base runners in innings, much like the Mets.
Well, professional. Listen, that's basically the lineup you have today, and they're still not scoring. So what is it? Right? Can has been 8.
He's on with the leadoff walk. Started tonight. Quantrill lost game 1 and game 4 against Cole.
Okay, Jason, but okay, that's fine.
Guardians have to
But
start.
where is Mauricio playing? That's what I don't understand. You want Vientos at third base? You want Beatty in left field? I do that. You know, where are you putting McNeil? Is McNeil in this lineup at all? Like, the Mets have a jam. Where are you playing all these guys?
Should be back fairly soon. Cam Gallagher drove it around with a base hit his first
Beatty's
time.
not a number 2 hitter. That's not what it is. No.
Gallagher went 0 for 34, and now he's had hits in his last 2 at-bats. His last at-bat yesterday and his first one today. And
Muttley,
gets fastball
let's be
on the
honest.
outside corner.
Jason Kipnis
Gallagher's eyes on this hit by pitch as he follows
is talking about leadership
all the way
for
to the wrist.
Lindor when he was with Cleveland. Jason Kipnis. I mean, let's not act like Kipnis is a Hall of Famer here. And again, Ken just said that. He was 23, 24 years old. Like, do you need a 22-year-old to be a leader? Jason Kipnis, who was a veteran at that time, aren't the veterans supposed to be a leader? Not a 23-year-old, 24-year-old? Let's be honest. He was a child. Like, do we expect Brett Beatty to be a leader on this team? No. If Jason Kipnis was expecting a 24-year-old to be a leader, let's be honest.
There goes the runner,
And another steal off a pitcher.
So Brennan has a stolen base.
I agree, Amit, but Beatty's not there yet.
45th
That's what people want to move lineups around. The Mets have been doing that. It's not the lineup construction. It's the players that are in this lineup.
Their throws. And in that time, they've lost control.
But I did hear, yes, I heard what Kipnis said. And that's a strikeout from Carrasco. Again, Muttley, like I said, that's fine, but you got to remember, Lindor was with the Guardians when he was a baby, basically. Correct, Rocky, 100%.
Diaz saying that
Again, Hector, I would do that. I would do that. But if you look at, people just only look at the stats, the good stats for Ronnie Mauricio. All right, he's made 8 errors at second base since they moved him. 8.
Well, if you look at Alvarez's
He's striking out
he's been very quick
at a high rate again.
Get it down to second, but there
Again, when he puts the bat on the ball, he does damage, but he strikes out a ton. Again, I bring him up. I'm with you. But again, stop acting like the kids are just going to come up and we're going to start winning ball games, because that's probably not going to happen.
No question that Alvarez's defense has been better than advertised. Ground ball, that door right there.
All right, should be 2 outs, and runner moves to third.
Second out. Brennan to third as Quan grounds out. 2 away.
Again, what are you gonna? Let's move Beatty, Vientos, and Alvarez 1-2. In the 2-3-4, and let's bat Alonso 5th and Lindor 7th. Like, you're not doing that. Nobody does that. All right, like, it just doesn't. Again, Muttley, I understand the 10-year contracts, but look at last offseason. Look at this offseason. How many huge contracts that have gone out? Again, the Judge contracts is going to be a disaster at probably year 6 through 10. Same thing with Lindor. Same thing with Bogarts. Same thing with Turner. Same thing with Harper.
Last year, 250 this year. 268.
Ken, development in the minor leagues.
Last year was.
That's all I can say.
The Mets last year, you look at the Guardians last year, and it was.
I understand, Hector, but again, do you want to win ball games, or do you want to lose with the look? You can lose with the kids just as much as you can lose with the veterans.
0-2 coming.
But you can also get experience by not batting third in the order. They don't need to bat they can bat anywhere in the order to get experience, which Buck is doing, right? Beatty, ever since he's been at the 5 hole, is batting 3 for 33. So you moved him up in the order, and he's been worse than when he was batting 7th. So you got what you wanted.
Brennan at third with 2 out, a 2-strike count to Rosario, and he just got a piece of that one. Ahmed is now 27 years old. He tried him out in center field in Cleveland when he first got there. Didn't work out so well. The Mets had talked about moving him to center field various times over his tenure in New York.
Nice block by Alvarez.
That's safer run.
Well, Ken, he has. Again, that putting money into scouting and development takes time. It doesn't take 2 years. Remember, this is year 3 of Cohen. That takes time. The Braves didn't do this overnight, right? It takes years to put a development staff together and get these guys developing over the years. That takes time. And kind of gets it on the hole, and it's 5-0 Guardians.
Rosario stops at first with an RBI single. Ahmed's second hit of the night. And the Guardians increase their lead.
Jason, it's been like that this year.
Jeremy Hefner will pay a visit to Carrasco.
No, McGill was in AAA.
Just hasn't been able to make that pitch when he's needed it. That was just a spinner in the middle of the plate. He's trying to throw it down and away and make Rosario chase it.
Committee, they're not going to do that. They're not.
Don't miss a single Mets moment with the SNY app. Scan the code and download today.
Dominic Leone is warming up in the bullpen.
Carrasco threw 52 pitches in his last
But Ken, that still takes time. That doesn't take 2 years. That's what I'm talking about. You got to remember, Cohen came in a couple of years ago. He put a ton of money. Again, he fired all those scouts and all the people in the minor league system, and he hired new people. It takes time. It doesn't take 1 year or 2 years. It takes 5, 6, 7 years to get these players ready. It takes time. Again, if you Google the scouting department for the Mets, you're going to see all these guys and development and all the coaches. It's a lot of different people from the Sandy Alderson years. And listen, Sandy Alderson drafted very well. The problem with Sandy Alderson and the Mets, once you draft talent from college or international, you got to develop them. That's where the Mets failed, for the most part. Oh, that's a shot, but I think it's going to be foul. It is. Up in the Coca-Cola corner. Just foul.
All the way to the back of the second deck.
He stayed in the box, so I figured it was way foul. Pound for pound, maybe one of the strongest players in the game.
I don't know how much he weighs, but he's strong. He pulls that
Ball, another foul ball, 2 strikes.
The guy behind him, Josh Naylor, has, more of a power hitter's physique. That. Ramirez, he always has that little
Hector, I think that's more
sneer on
of
his face.
age than it is players getting hurt, though.
Take your lungs out. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Ken, once. Once. And that was about 10 years ago. I'll tell that after the inning's over.
To meet his tail. The splitter low away, and it's 3-2 to
Yeah,
Ramirez.
I mean, look around the league. Like, the Braves have a ton of injuries.
These are more
Is it
pitches
the-
than they intended to allow
the training
to throw,
staff?
but that'll
No.
help them next time out. Next start will probably be it.
Well, yeah, Jason, exactly.
Rosario runs, and the 3-2 is fouled off for a 3-2 curveball.
And Alvarez is going to the mound.
These 3 with
Oh, it
Cleveland
was going to the
over
mound,
the
guess not.
weekend. 4 o'clock game tomorrow, 7 o'clock Sunday night.
And once again, guys, I'll be going to the game tomorrow. I'll be hanging out with the 7 line and all my friends that I have always hung out with for God knows how long now. So be at the game tomorrow. So you get a little bit of a couple of YouTube shorts at the game like I did yesterday. Ground ball should end the inning. And he does. And not before the Guardians get another run. 5-0 Guardians going to the bottom of the 5th. And yeah, I agree. And again, the problem that I think the Mets ran into, and this goes back to the Wilpon era. And again, as much as we kill the Wilpons, as much as we kill Sandy Alderson, Steven Matz, Matt Harvey, Jacob deGrom, Pete Alonso, Brandon Nimmo, Jeff McNeil, Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos, Francisco Alvarez, all these guys were from the Wilpon era, from most with the Sandy Alderson era. So the Mets drafted extremely well. We talk about the Mets farm system not being good, yet look around baseball. There's a lot of Mets that have done very well outside of the Mets organization, and even with the Mets, right? Alonso, McNeil, not a top prospect. Brandon Nimmo was a top prospect, but nobody really thought he was going to amount to what he is now, right? Pete Alonso, top prospect, right? Brett Beatty, top prospect. Alvarez, number one prospect in all of baseball, right? We can go on and on here. So the problem with the Mets, after the whole situation, when people are like, oh, the Mets have not drafted pitching, I agree with you. But when guys that came up in 2013, 2014, 2015, the Steven Matz, the Noah Syndergaards, even though Syndergaard really wasn't a Mets farm system, when they traded for him, he was a part of their system, right? Jacob deGrom, Matt Harvey, right? When you get these guys coming up in 2013, 2014, 2015, in those years, you expect them to be a big part of your rotation for 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Well, most of them flamed out. So what are the Mets supposed to do in that scenario, right? You weren't expecting that.
And got hit by a pitch. He had gotten 30.
Well, you admit, I agree with that. But that was a Billy Epler decision. I'm sorry, that wasn't a Billy Epler decision. That was a Brody Van Wagenen decision. So again, that's the problem too. Again, Pete Crow Armstrong, I liked him, but again, people were happy with Baez, right? When we got him, right? We needed a bat in 2021. Everybody wanted to do something there. And that's off of Canna. Can he get him out? Safe. Ooh, just got him in time. No, Harvey wasn't a top prospect.
The trainer away, says, sit down.
1 out.
It doesn't mean that it doesn't smart, because you can tell he got hit real good. For the one hopper right out the back of the right leg. I mean, real fine play to get to it and throw a strike. Bare hands. Gets over to Josh Bell.
Just gets him by his step. Exactly, Rocky. Generation K was a failure. Generation K 2.0, for the most part, was a failure minus DeGrom, right? And a few years with Harvey.
So the Mets have a change in their catching situation today. Gary Sanchez joined the team. He had an opt-out after 10 days playing in Syracuse, was hitting the ball well. The Mets had to decide either call him up or let him go somewhere else after Sanchez had opted out earlier this year with the Giants. And they decided to call him up.
Yeah.
Now, how that affects the Mets' catching situation going forward is anybody's guess. Because Gary was in the clubhouse today, happy to be here, happy to be back in New York after a tour in Minnesota. I mean, they have Nito, who is out on rehab now.
But again, DeGrom was the only one that worked out for the Mets for that
Michael Perez, who was here for a week.
bunch of pitchers,
They've got their 21-year-old.
Vasil is not coming up, guys. You got, again, just because they pitch him well in Double-A, you're not just going to bring them up. It's not happening. It's not.
Buck always preaches. Said I can only worry about the 26 who are here right now.
But he's got a lot of parts he'd like to play who are used to playing every day. I think that's the issue. And Sanchez 8 for 26 down in AAA for the Mets, 9 bases on balls in 8 games.
Oh, goodbye. That's a shot for Alvarez, and that's a home run for Francisco Alvarez. 5-1, Guardians. There we go. We got a run on the board, but unfortunately nobody on base, but it's a start. 5-1, Guardians. Again, one thing we see Alvarez do, he can hit breaking balls.
3-run homer wins tonight, the tie of the game, and now he gets the Mets' first run of this game with a well-struck home run.
That's the two-seamer that he
Ooh, fastball. There you go. But you can hit those fastballs when they're down the middle. That's for sure. That's a shot. Second deck once again. He is, Jason. And again, everybody talked about it's not the bat that's going to be a problem. It's the defense, which clearly isn't a problem. So the Mets get on the board with Alvarez moonshot to left field.
True inside, and after all the pitches he's faced inside, including the one hit by pitch, he was ready.
And Nimmo has just been off for about 2 weeks now. 2 outs. 1 for his last 20. But you know what? Nimmo in his career goes through these stretches. As good as Nimmo has been, he'll have a good month and then go through a 2-3 week stretch where he looks like he can't even touch a baseball. It's that's Nimmo, but Nimmo's been one of our better players, so we can't kill him, right? Yeah, Jason, he's been good. Again, it's not the bat. The Mets never worried about his bat. They think the bat's going to perform. But he's been a surprise defensively compared to what the Mets thought, right? But again, they said that with Pete Alonso. They said that with Jeff McNeil. So they said that with Vientos. They said that with Beatty.
Gave up the home run right after getting struck. Fastball away 2-1. Well, the Mets went, 56 innings without a home run. Now they've hit 8 in their last 4
Well,
games.
people wanted home runs. The Mets are hitting home runs, so everybody got what they wanted.
Against the Rays.
Well, exactly. Professional. I'm not going to go with a 2.5 ERA with a pitcher in Double-A. Like, easy, he doesn't. He's throwing 93 miles an hour. That's the thing. Like, and I think the problem, and you see this around baseball, there's too many hitters that are guess hitters. And I think there are too many times they're looking breaking ball. And I think that's a bad way of going about hitting. And Lindor hits a shot to left field. And that is off the wall. And that is a 2-out double for Lindor. Actually, Lindor hit the baseball. How about that? Congratulations for Francisco Lindor putting the bat on the ball. Nice to see. That's the way he needs to hit left-handed. He didn't overswing, a level swing, and he just nearly missed a home run to left center. Throwing, he's not throwing 96. I don't know what you're looking at. His average velocity is 94 right now. 94. He might have thrown one pitch at 96, but every pitch has been 93, 94. I'm looking at it right now. Hold on 1 second.
He's telling him he's got to make eye contact with McNeil. Make eye contact before you come.
Poncho's going a little bit through an issue here. I agree, Jason, and that's what I said, right? What you can't have is a 30 home run guy that bats 210. Like, that's Joey Gallo. Like, 240, 250, 30 home runs, I'll take that every day of the week. All right, Jeff, come on. 2 out runs. Got a long way to go in this ball game. Well, Balikwa, that's not true because he was actually very good for the Mets last year. As a number 5 starter with a 3.91 ERA, pretty good year. Ball 2. Poncho's losing his momentum here.
Whenever you get hit with a ball and you get hit in a
all right, so the catcher's going to the mound, so we'll talk a little bit about it. Exactly, right? It wasn't about, again, the Mets have failed with figuring out these guys saying they're not good defensively because Alonso was supposed to be bad defensively. Again, these guys got better over the years. Like McNeil was not supposed to be. McNeil was basically, they weren't even saying that he had a position. He plays all over the field. Vientos the same thing. They did the same thing. So they're misjudging on the defensive situation with these players, not really offensively because they think the bats can play, clearly. But yeah, when it comes to Alvarez, he can bat 240, 250 and hit 30 home runs. I take that every day of the week.
From behind on McNeil 2-0. Jeff Fowler with the fastball 2-1.
I agree, professional. I agree. Now, again, it's going to be very interesting to see what the Mets are going to do with Mark Vientos, though, because, again, people want a big trade deadline for the Mets. How are you going to do that when you got 3 out of your 4 top prospects that everybody wanted up? You're not trading them. So what are you going to do at the deadline? That's the issue the Mets are going to run into. And that's a big reason why people want Morani Mauricio up. I've said this for 3 years. ever since they got Francisco Lindor. Ronnie Mauricio is the biggest trade chip for the New York Mets. If you want the Mets to do something big at the deadline, Ronnie Mauricio is going to be a part of that. I'm just letting you guys know.
Things that have never been done.
Come on, Jeff. 2 out RBI.
Longo's 2-2. And McNeil waits to wear that splitter.
Jason, I agree, I understand that. But it's exactly what the Mets have on this in this lineup, right? Where are you playing Mauricio? When you got Beatty, when you got Vientos, where are you playing him? That's the problem. That's a base hit. That's two. That's the second run of the ball game. 2 out RBI for McNeil. 5-2 Guardians. There you go. Good job. 2 out RBIs. I like to see that. I like to see that. Jason, Mauricio's value is up. Trust me. It's not about getting his value up at the major league level. Nice hit. Right up the middle for McNeil. Good piece of hitting. And here comes Pete Alonso. Well, can't kill the Mets. They've been putting together good at-bats since the Rays series.
Since that, he's given a home run, a double, and now a single. McNeil's now hit it 6 straight games, and now Alonso will come to the plate, trying to keep the good times rolling. Polar bear in hand.
So 3 home runs in the last 3 games for Pete Alonso. Be another big home run here to get this game within 1 run. And again, a long way to go, guys. 5th inning. Feels like it's a long. The game's almost over, but it's really not. Come on, Pete.
Because he has changed the game plan a little against the Tampa Bay Rays. Balls that he was not covering.
Well, Jason, a lot of fans thought it was.
Do you pitch him down or do you pitch him up in the strike zone?
See, now Quancho's not getting that pitch on the inside corner. Come on, Pete.
So he wants him to
keep the inning moving. Let's go.
Running in, trying to get the ball on the ground.
Right. Oh, he dropped it. Run, Pete, run. Ah. Damn it.
Well, it's a natural reaction when you see the ball going right to the fielder.
All right. So Pete Alonso hits a soft line drive to Rosario, who missed it. Pete didn't run off the bat. But again, when you hit one right at somebody soft, you're not going to run off the crack of the bat. But I don't think he would have beat it out anyway. But the Mets get back 2 runs in this inning, down by 3. And let's see if the Mets get. You got four innings left. We're going to probably get the bullpen. And again, I don't know if Carrasco is going to come back out for the 6th, but we'll see. Yeah. I agree, Fresh. I agree. Look, you heard the fans boo there, and I agree. Look, Pete Alonso's been hot with the bat. But again, we've all if you play baseball, when a ball is hit softly right at somebody, especially in the infield, your natural reaction is to not move out of the box real quick, right? But again, look, he was out by a mile, but I don't think he would have beat it out anyway. But you never know, right? That's why you run the ball out. But again, I'm not going to give any excuses to Alonso. He needs to run off the bat right off the bat. But again, was he going to beat it out? Probably not. But you know what? It would have made Rosario made a quicker throw. Exactly, Ken. He hustles out of the box almost every time, Alonso. So, well, Jason, if you do the math, he's on pace. He's had one more at this point, and somebody did a stat. Checked it out. Judge did around this time last year had 15 home runs. So he's on pace to hit 65 home runs. Again, I don't think he's going to do that, but you never know. He's on pace to hit 65 home runs. I think every 3.2 at bats, he's hitting a home run. So let's see. They saw that.
Well, it's a ball that Rosario will catch 99 times per 100. He does it. He's disappointed because he knows it's going to be caught. And when it's not, then you get thrown out at first, and everyone is asking themselves, why is he not running? It's a natural reaction by any hitter.
I mean, the play appears to be over.
It's over, but it's not over.
Look, Pete right there. He got down on himself there. He's mad at himself. You saw the replay there? He was mad at himself. He didn't run out of the box. And
to get the Guardians off to a fast start, takes ball one from Leon.
Ken, I say that all the time. People are obsessed with home runs because this is a strikeout home run league now. Give me 3 guys that hit 100 RBIs, and I'll be happy. That's just me. We're talking about something here, right? 5 innings, 5 runs for Carrasco. Not a good start, right? But the final 3 innings, he gave up no runs. So he kept the Mets, quote unquote, in the ball game at the very least. Dominic Leone is in the game for the Mets.
So Carrasco went 5, allowed 5 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, a home run. Sounds like a terrible outing, and obviously wasn't a good one, but at least it got him back on the mound, and he had a stretch where he was hitting with his pitches. Now the question is, what happens next? That's lined into right field, and
Naylor's staying hot.
So Naylor's
been the best hitter in this lineup for the Guardians for the past week.
I mean, you encouraged from what you
Yeah, Ken, right? That would be nice.
I'm encouraged by the velocity. I was encouraged that he threw some real good split change, but I think in between starts he'll work on that slider. His breaking ball was not as sharp.
It was Josh Bell. Well, here's the larger issue for the Mets, and this is what has to change, and perhaps we're on the verge of seeing it change with Scherzer and Verlander and Carrasco now healthy. And by the way, the other good news today, Jose Quintana cleared to start getting himself ramped up when his bone scan came back clear. Mets are now in their 46th game. 32 of the 46 Mets have gotten 5 innings or less from their starting pitcher. That's 70% of the games the starter's not able to go beyond 5.
And there's collateral damage from that, right? It's hard to get on a roll as a team, and it's hard sometime down the road. It's got to affect your bullpen, I would think.
That's a base hit up the middle, and that's not what you want to start the 6th inning for the bullpen here.
Aboard with nobody out.
Well, I think McNeil, rightfully so, playing a little to pull, and that ball just missed the second base umpire, Dan Messner. Hard hit on the ground, and the Guardians have something going.
Now Andres Jimenez, Beatty will shorten up at third. He'll do the same at first. Jimenez struck out.
Double play ball would be nice here.
Fastball up and away from Leon, ball 1. Well, I think Buck Showalter does a better job than just about any other manager of not overtaxing his bullpen, even if he has to sacrifice some games to do so.
Fly ball. Oh, nice play by Nimmo. That was a tough play. And the runner goes to third. 1 out.
Briefly before catching it going away. 1 out. Taking going to third is Naylor.
Well, that ball was hit right on the nose by Jimenez. That's why it had so much carry. This wouldn't come out of the air for Nimmo. And I bet you right here he felt a little lost, but made the play. Job of base running by Naylor. He stayed there and tagged up on the play.
Did the Mets throw the ball to second base? Because I think it was pretty close as to whether Naylor left early.
I was watching him. I didn't think he left early.
Doesn't look like they're going to run an appeal play, so.
Watch the kind of sacrifice squeeze here.
Miles Straw with great speed.
Hold on 1 second. They think Naylor left early at second. What's going on here?
Out of a truck horse.
All right, nothing
Yeah,
on.
but
All right.
first does not run particularly
So the
well.
infield is in. The third base and first base is in,
Middle infield
and
is
the middle
halfway.
infielder is halfway. Looking for a double play ball here.
Second, struck out in the fourth. And fastball in for a strike from Leon.
Watch the catch. Let's watch the tag.
Ooh. He almost left early, but close.
He reached back, made sure right before he took off.
Come on. Double play.
That's moving outside 1-1. The problem here with your middle infielders is that Straw would be awfully difficult to double up, even as a right-hand batter. You know, he's just so fast getting down the line, so you can't play back at regular double play depth.
Yeah, they were in a step and a half in the middle infield.
Here's the double play ball.
What's Lindor going to do with it? The turn by McNeil.
Yeah, double play. There we go. Get out of that inning, baby. That's a nice pitching by Leon. Mets get out of the inning. Get that offense back up there, guys. Down by 3 still. Let's go. Come on. Little bit of fist pump from McNeil and Lindor. That's what you're talking about. A little bit of fist pump from Leon. And that's what you're talking about. That's how you get out of an inning right there in the jam. There we go, guys. That's what I'm talking about. Big double play right there. And you know what? Good defensive alignment. Because the Mets could have easily played the short McNeil and Lindor a little bit more in since there was a guy on third. They could have played, a little bit closer, but they played them halfway. And that ball was hit hard. So if they were playing a little bit more in, that could have been past Lindor. But perfect positioning by the Mets to get out of that inning. So that's what you want to see right there. Mets keep it at 5 and got a couple more innings here. Get their offense right back up there. And it's so important sometimes to get out of an inning as fast as possible or a little bit with a little bit momentum where your offense got a couple of runs last inning. Jake, freaking wrestling. So once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. And once again, guys, I forgot what I was going to say. I totally forgot. I was going to say something and I forgot. But once again, guys, I will be going to the game tomorrow for the 4 p.m. game. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, so who the hell knows if there's going to be a game. But we are I'll do if the game does happen. Again, it's Francisco Lindor bobblehead tomorrow. So if the game does happen, I will be at the game. I will do a couple of YouTube shorts. They actually are very popular when I'm at a game. So and I think a lot of you've seen the whole Judge quote unquote cheating thing. The short I did, it was actually very, very popular, which is funny. But check out the YouTube shorts. I love to do the 5th inning live, but the service is terrible at Citi Field, so it's hard to do that. So Brett Beatty is up. Quantrill's still in the ball game. 5-2 Guardians. I was gonna say Indians. See if the Mets can get a couple more runs here and get closer. Beatty hits a shot to left field. I might be gone. Yeah, home run, Brett Beatty. 5-3, baby. Here we go. Here we go. Oppo Taco for Brett Beatty, baby. Here we go. The young boys are showing up. 5-3 Guardians. That is some power right there. Left field power from Brett Beatty. There we go. Hold on. Here we go, guys. Here we go. There we go. Apple is out, boys. Apple is out. Here we go. Here we go. That's what I'm talking about. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. 5-3. Right back in this ball game, guys. And Marte just missed that one. 1 out.
See the contact, the stance, the contact right out.
Well, Jason, I'm not going to say that. Look, the problem with Judge in his career is if he stays healthy, he's a 45, 50 home run guy. Like, let's be honest. And he's a 280, 290 hitter. He's a great player. If he stays healthy, he's going to have a great career. All right, so the Mets are 2 runs down here. Come on, Mark.
Vientos fouls back to Cutter, and it's 1-1.
The Mets went through such a long period of time where they could not hit the ball out of the ballpark, but it shows you how quickly you can get back in the game when you are hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Well, in this matchup with the Guardians, the Mets are the home run hitting team.
That's right.
They had 48 coming into the day. The Guardians only 24. Zemeckis
Come on.
with the bullpen. 1-2 coming.
And Vientos strikes out. I think we should send him down, guys. He looks terrible at that plate.
Doubles into the right field corner. Ronald Acuna Jr. scores to make it 1-0 Braves, and it's still 1-0 Atlanta in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, I don't think Judge cheated. Ground ball from Canna, and that is another error by Rosario. And the Mets have another opportunity with a mistake with 2 outs. So see if the Mets can capitalize here. Again, that's why Rosario is not a shortstop.
Didn't take a crazy bounce. It just rolled right out of the pocket. A little juggling action by that time.
All right, so the pitching change is happening. The Mets will have Francisco Alvarez, the tying run at the plate in the bottom of the 6th with 2 outs. Again, we can, some people killed the trade, and because what the Mets did, trading Jimenez and Rosario and 2 other prospects, which if you look at those, Josh Wolf was one of the prospects. A lot of people liked him. Well, he has a 7 ERA in the minors and can't get out of AA. And the other player was a position player, but he's done nothing in the minors. Rosario, as the number 1 Mets prospect coming up, has been okay as a player. Jimenez, again, I think he's going to be a very good player, but I mean, at this moment, the Mets kind of won that trade. But again, I think it benefited both teams. Let me put it that way, right? Jimenez probably won't hit 25. Maybe he would. Maybe Jimenez might. But, I think both teams won the trade. Put it that way. Let's be honest. I think both teams were in positions where the Mets needed a big splash. The Guardians were rebuilding. And I think both won the trade. I think both are satisfied with the trade, to be honest with you. Right? That's just my opinion. You can disagree. That's okay. But, that was the big thing that people talked about. But, hey, what are you going to do? Right? You just hope that Alvarez and Beatty and Vientos or Mauricio, whoever is up with this team is going to stick with this team, is not going to be a bust. Again, you can be a good player and not be a bust, right? If you're a number 1 overall prospect like Francisco Alvarez is in Major League Baseball was, you can't bat 220 and hit 20 home runs and become a good player. The Mets need him to be an offensive juggernaut, basically. Steven, I don't know, because you can say that. Very interesting. They bring in a left-hander to face Alvarez. Very interesting. Yeah, but you got to remember that situation. Arenado wasn't available until after Lindor got traded. That's something that people forget. Arenado wasn't available until after the trade with Lindor was made. All right, so here comes Francisco Alvarez, the tying run coming to the plate. Last at bat, hit a solo home run to left field. I'm very shocked they're bringing in a left-hander here. But Cleveland relievers is 3rd best in Major League Baseball with a 3.1 ERA. All right, tying run at the plate here. Oh, got under it. Got under it. Going for the first pitch, tried for that. It was a hanging breakable. He just got under it. And the Mets get out. The Mets only get 1 run in the inning. Get another run closer. And after 6, 5-3 Guardians. No, he was not Yamit. Again, they just talked about it today, where Nolan Arenado was not available in a trade yet until after the Lindor trade was made. It was already talked about. Again, Google it. He was not available. He was not available yet. Unfortunately for the Mets. But again, it's a trickle-down effect, guys. If the Mets traded for Nolan Arenado, Brett Beatty would probably not be a part of this team. So we look at it many different ways. And again, that doesn't mean that Arenado would have performed in New York. He's playing in a place where there's no pressure in St. Louis. All right? Like, let's not act like every player that comes to New York is going to perform. The same thing with Ohtani, the same thing with Arenado, right? Jason Bay was a beast in Boston. Nobody thought that he was not going to perform in New York. A disaster. Again, not saying Arenado is Bay, but let's not act like Arenado would have performed in New York. We don't know that, right? Two years with Lindor, he's had a really good year and one bad year so far. This year, when it comes to home runs and RBIs, he's on par for 25 and 100. Average-wise, not what you expect. Well, they're two totally different players. Jose Reyes was the leadoff guy. Lindor's a middle-of-the-order type of guy. Oh, well, the Mets they're showing the booth right now with Gary Cohen and Ron Darling. Let's listen up, guys. So, top of the 7th, Mets down by 2. I wonder if Drew Smith's going to be in the game. Oh, Dominic Leone still in the game. Very interesting.
Sounds good, right? I bet it tastes good, too. The problem with them delivering food to the booth during the game is there's this whole thing where we have to talk while the game is going on.
Well, you have to talk.
Well, Brandon leading off against Dominic Leone, who starts his
I agree, Steve. He's in his prime. Again, I think year 7, 8, and 9, and 10 of that contract is going to be a disaster.
Oh, my. So there's the custard and there's the dipping sauce. The donuts.
New York strip, right, Russ? You got a medium rare there?
That's lined into right field.
That's a base hit for Brennan.
So Leone, who gave up a leadoff hit of the 6th.
Christian, that's a good point.
7th. How is the steak cooked? Do we know?
I love that.
They're showing the Pat LaFrida New York.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
A little bit of steak
the
there.
Plate cutting board.
That's a good point, Christian.
With potatoes. What's this right here?
Brussels sprouts.
And with bacon bits.
Crispy Brussels sprouts with bacon. Yeah.
So very interesting. Dominic Leone's getting the second inning here.
By the way, nothing against Brussels sprouts. They're very tasty. But no one ever.
Yeah, professional, but he also got out of that inning too. Bro, Liquid, that's not happening. There's a reason why the Mets moved Mauricio to second base.
I roast them in the oven. Very tasty. Shake them up in a bag with some salt and pepper. Drizzle them with olive oil. Shake up the bag. Put them on a cookie sheet.
You've become such a good chef since they.
Michael, what's happening with my Mets? I don't know.
When there was nothing to do for a whole year, I learned how to cook. There's a few things. There goes Brennan, and it's fouled off. The sign is a hit and run play, but Brennan was on the move.
It looked like it. It just happens so rarely.
Well, Michael, the majority of the National League isn't good. But as bad as the Mets have been, they're right near a playoff spot. They're a game and a half out. And they're chasing the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Miami Marlins. And that's another base hit. And he's going to go to third. Yes, he is. And it's first and third with nobody out. Michael, who's your team? I'm curious.
Gallagher was 0 for 34 yesterday. Now he's 3 for his last 4.
The breaking ball off the plate, but he's able to cover that pitch. Gets it just off the end of the bat.
Well, here's a decision by Buck I don't like. Why Dominic Leone is still in the ball game didn't make no sense. He shouldn't have pitched the 7th. Michael, my point exactly. That's it. That's all I have to say. I mean, are the Yankees a good team? I'm just curious. Because you haven't beat the Rays this year and the Mets did. So what does that tell you? Does that tell you anything? Probably not. Oh, I knew Michael was a Yankees fan. I just wanted him to admit it. That's all. On the channel, so everybody noticed.
The ball very hard. He's a guy also that's hard to double up, just like Straw, and that happened. And I don't like leaving that hole open with Quan.
Well, one thing you know about Quan is he's likely to make contact. I mean, you'd love to think about.
It's not even about not having Aaron Judge in the lineup. The whole point is the fact that the Yankees, who are chasing everybody in the division, have not beaten the Rays this year. They split and they lost the series against the Rays. And they beat a Toronto Blue Jays team that chokes every year. Again, I think the Yankees are going to make the playoffs because they should. But at the end of the day, the Yankees are the same amount of games out as the Mets are in the division. So, as bad as the Mets are, they're still in a better spot than the Yankees. Exactly the same spot, basically. So, what does that matter? Again, to compare the Mets and the Yankees make no sense because they have nothing to do with each other. Yeah, I don't understand that, Ken. I said that yesterday at the game.
2-2 from Leon. That's lifted foul.
I was wondering where he was too. I don't understand. It's very odd. Very odd.
Tomorrow against Tanner Bybee, the rookie. That's a 4:00 game on Pix 11.
Yeah, okay, Michael. Who is hurt? Besides Stanton, who is hurt? Bader came back. Great. That's a good thing. But your lineup is basically the same as last year.
Again, the 2-2 to Quan. That's too high. A full count. Rosario waiting on deck.
I mean, I don't understand. Okay, so the Mets didn't have 4/5 of their rotation for the whole month. Don't bring up injuries and don't bring up the Mets injuries. It's the same. It's the same issue.
Very few moving parts. Gallagher at first, not a fast runner. 3-2 with nobody out. Brandon, a fast man at third. Nobody going, and it's low ball.
Bases loaded.
Bases are loaded. So there's the worst possible outcome for Leon.
Okay, so Rodon, and now he's taking out Dominic Leone. So now it's a pitching change, and probably Drew Smith's coming in now. Okay, Stanton, great, that's fine. But your Nogosic's coming in the game. So, Michael, okay, Severino, great. Gets hurt every year. Again, Severino, who never performs in the playoffs. Rodon, always hurt. Who knows when he's coming back? Let's not bring up, okay, that's an injury. That's 3 guys, all right? So let's see. The New York Mets had only Senga in the rotation for the first month and a half, basically. But no, you don't want to bring that up, right? By the way, the Mets offense is scoring 4.5 runs per game. If the Mets pitched a little better, which was very hard to do when you're pitching Jose Butto, Dennis Santana, Denny Reyes every single day for a month, you're going to lose ball games, right? So it's not the offense. I'm sorry. You keep on bringing up the offense. That's clearly you're not paying attention. The Mets are scoring 4.5 runs per ball game. The pitching has been the problem, but the pitching also has been hurt, right? Don't bring up Yankee injuries and don't bring up Met injuries. That's stupidity. That's excuses that you shouldn't use, right? I'm sorry. The Yankees have been a 500 ball club since the middle of June last year. All right? There are a couple of games over 500, and they're exact same amount of games out of the division as the Mets. I'm sorry. Judge never performs in the playoffs. Stanton has been better than Judge in the playoffs. And again, Volpe, I think Volpe is going to be good. But let's not act like, again, if it wasn't for Harrison Bader last year, the Yankees would have lost in the divisional series to the Guardians. Right? I mean, the Yankees, again, I think the Yankees are going to make the playoffs. But again, what is the point comparing the Mets and the Yankees when they don't matter until they play each other? That's all I'm saying. So Nogosic is coming in with bases loaded, nobody out. Again, Michael, where were you when the Mets beat the Rays 2 out of 3? That doesn't count? The Yankees haven't done that. I don't think the Yankees are going to win the division, to be honest with you.
Run on two
The
hits.
Yankees have to play at an 750 pace.
Mets play the infield
And
halfway with Rosario.
let's just wait for the inning to be over.
Nobody out. And Ahmed takes curveball in the dirt that Alvarez keeps.
So the whole point is that the Rays can play 500 and win 100 games. The Yankees have to play 750 ball.
Sixth, but put himself right back into trouble in the seventh. And Negosic will try and pick him up. Rosario
Again,
two
but the
for
Yankees
three
don't have to
tonight.
win the division to make the playoffs. That's what people just don't want to worry about. Like, I just don't get it.
Busted up and in and stopped the swing.
2-0.
2-0. Ryan Addison, the first base umpire, with the call.
Again, people are talking about, the Yankees
Rosario this year
split the series against the Rays. The Yankees are back. When the Mets win the series against the Rays, no credit's given to the Rays, to the Mets. Like, it makes no sense.
Leon wound up going an inning plus, allowing 4 hits and a walk. No runs to date, but responsible for all 3. Corners are even with the bags. Middle infielders halfway. And Rosario takes
Ball
inside
3.
and now Negosic behind 3-1. So it couldn't get much deeper here. 3-1 count. You've got Jose Ramirez looming on deck. This game could get away from the Mets very quickly. Big pitch now for Negosic. And it's lined to center field. Nimmo coming.
Come on, Brandon, get there.
Down to make the catch, tagging at third, trying to score.
Oh, we got him at third.
And Alvarez has him in the rundown.
Yeah. Bad base running, 2 outs. There we go. Great defensive play. Great job. 2 outs. Yes. Once again, the Mets defense and bad base running.
Got to challenge a hitter and just hope something good happens. And boy, this is the best gift you could ever be given.
Hey, that's all we can hope for. That was all we can hope for right there. A little bit of luck there. I don't know what the runner was thinking, but I think he would have been out at home anyway. And that was a great play by Alvarez to come back and get that ball. 2 outs. I was going to say, and that's the other thing. Hey, I'll take it. Let's be honest. It's been the Mets making those stupid base running errors, right? Come on. Get out of this inning. Get our offense back out there.
There's no information there. But a ball is hit like that deep to center field, you're on your own, bro. Just get back and take home.
What an enormous play for the Mets.
But you got to get out of the inning still. You got one of the better hitters in the game up in Jose Ramirez. Here. Really, Michael? Because the Phillies have been playing so well this year. They're actually worse than the Mets. I don't see the Phillies getting out of their own way. You see, Michael, that's just a stupid comment. What have the Phillies done this year that the Mets haven't done? They played exactly the same way. Bad.
Walked and grounded out twice, 0 for 2. And Negosic bounces his first breaking ball, and Alvarez stops it nicely. Ball 1. Boy, Alvarez is just so active back there.
No, Ken, no, absolutely. That was a great throw. Getting it in quick, but you know what? That was also Alvarez got up and got that play. That was an excellent play right there. That basically saved him right there to get that runner at third. Come on.
Such a great job on that double play. Coming up to get the ball and then immediately recognizing the situation and running Brennan back toward third. And Ramirez takes another curve in the dirt and another terrific block by Alvarez.
As a catcher, you expect the big league pitcher when he's behind 1-0.
Well, Michael, you should be worried about the Rays because you got to catch them. And by the way, you still haven't beat them this year. So worry about them before you worry about the Mets. That seems to be the Yankees' problem. Don't worry about the Mets. You have nothing to do with us. Ooh, ball 3. You don't want Josh Naylor coming up in that spot.
Naylor, who already has a home run and a single in this game, would be next.
Negosic is not making it easy here.
3-0 from Negosic. Yeah, that's right down the middle, 3-1. Second straight 3-1 count for Negosic. Rosario hit the ball hard, but it resulted in 2 outs. Now behind on Ramirez, 3-1.
Ball 4.
The bases are loaded again.
Oh, you didn't want to walk him to get to Josh Naylor, who's been hot.
Crisis built on crisis. That's 4 walks by Met pitchers.
Well, remember in the first inning, Naylor got ahead of Carrasco, got a fastball 3-1, and did not miss it.
Well, this can be the ball game right here, guys. Top of the 7th.
Through this inning with the 325-foot double play, it's got to be their game.
Naylor, 2 for 3, 3 RBIs tonight. And he takes a fastball just outside for ball 1. Naylor's home run.
Michael, I agree with your honest opinion, but it's not you're not giving facts here. You're talking about the Phillies winning the division. They've been playing just as bad, if not worse, than the Mets this year. And the only reason why you said that is because they made the World Series last year because they got hot for a month. And that's embarrassing because you're not giving the Braves no credit. You haven't even brought up the Braves. That's embarrassing.
Behind all 3 hitters he's faced. And Naylor swinging at a high cutter, comes up empty.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think Drew Smith he might be dealing with an injury, and that's why he hasn't been in the game in 4 days. But if he's healthy, Drew Smith should have been in this inning. But we can still get out of it here. But the hottest hitter is up with Naylor. Come on, Steven.
1-1 from Negosic.
Nice pitch. Oh, where was that pitch? Come on. You got to be freaking kidding me with that pitch.
3 pitches in this at-bat.
That right on the inside corner. Oh,
Real close by the
come on.
I'm on his side. I think that ball was in.
Big pitch for Negosic here. Doesn't want to fall behind again. 3-1. Naylor lines one the other way for a base hit. That'll bring in Gallagher. Quan trying to score. The throw to the plate by Canna is
2-run score.
It's a 2-run single for Josh Naylor. He has a 5 RBI night. And the Guardians wind up.
Josh Naylor has been killing us all game.
They now lead 7-3.
Well, you see what happens when an umpire makes a bad call. Change 2-1 into a 1-2 count into a 2-1 count, and he has to come over the plate there. Not a bad pitch. Outside corner, but that's the issue.
And this one he did not. A bullet to left field. Quan's got plenty of speed. With 2 outs and Quan on second base. Great secondary lead.
Good piece of hitting.
Hit and run from second. That ball was hit on the line. It's a play at home with anyone else running, but not with Quan.
So it's now a 4-1.
So Josh Naylor has 5 of the 7 RBIs.
And he takes a fastball away for ball 1. After all the excitement of turning that unlikely double play, Negosic unable to seal the deal. And that one bounces away from Alvarez. Trying to take third is Ramirez, and he'll make it safely. And behind him, Naylor moves up to second. It'll be a wild pitch charge from Negosic, putting 2 in scoring position.
I mean, this is something you just don't see from Negosic. I mean, just spikes that fastball straight down in the dirt, and there's no way that Alvarez can keep that in front.
Tommy Hunter to work in the Mets bullpen. The Guardians to blow the doors off this game with a base hit here. And Bell takes a fastball that just missed, and now it's 3-0. Every hitter Negosic has been behind. 17 pitches. He's only thrown 4 strikes. And he walks Bell on 4 pitches to reload the bases.
And here comes Buck. Tommy Hunter's coming in now. Again, I really do hope that Drew Smith is hurt or has an injury or something's bothering him. Because why Negosic is in this ball game, and I don't know why Leon started the inning. Made no sense. But I mean, I don't understand. Drew Smith, like you were 2 runs down starting the inning. Drew Smith has been your 7th inning guy for all year. Unless Drew Smith, like, I don't know why Drew Smith hasn't pitched the last 4 games. Is he sick? Is he injured? Who knows? But we haven't heard nothing. But if Drew Smith was available, he should have been in the 7th inning. You shouldn't be using Dominic Leone for a second inning and using Nogosek in these innings. You're down by 2 runs. So I don't understand that. I get not using Ottavino and Robertson. Those are your 8, 9 guys. And they pitched the last couple of days, so you want to save them for those 2 innings if need be. But Leone starting the 2nd inning after he got out of that jam in the first inning he pitched, you can't bring him back out for the 2nd inning. At the very least, if you wanted Nogosek to start the inning, okay, I'm not going to go crazy. But bringing it, why Drew Smith wasn't in the ballgame, I don't understand. I haven't seen any news that Drew Smith has been hurt or injured, unless I missed it. Steven, I don't know if Chapman in New York is going to work. Well, Ken, you're not firing a manager. I know you don't like Buck, but Buck's not the real issue here. Let's be honest. Like, he's not the number one issue, right? Carrasco shouldn't give up 5 runs. Leone in the 6th inning, who are you going to pitch besides him? Yeah, but I'm not going to. Again, you can kill Buck all you want, but again, your starting pitcher gave up 5 runs. That's your problem. Like, let's be honest. So it's 7-3 Guardians. Tommy Hunter's in a ball game with 2 outs.
First base, then stand for defense. Tommy Hunter on to try and put an end to this mess in the 7th.
Well, pitched in the last game of that series in Washington, got 9 outs at the end of that game.
3 innings, he faced 14 batters and threw 35 pitches.
Michael, probably.
The Nats, needless to say, were very aggressive against him. Andres Jimenez takes inside ball 1. Jimenez 0 for 3 in this game. Struck out, hit a comebacker, and fly to center. Bases loaded, 2 out, 2 runs home in the inning. And Jimenez checks the swing, takes the cutter for a strike, and it's 1-1.
Honestly, Michael, if the Mets don't make the playoffs, everybody should be fired. Epler, Buck, the pitching coaches, the hitting coaches, everybody.
Gave up 2 walks and a single.
Especially in the National League that hasn't been that good this year.
Retired was that line drive to center by Rosario, so not his best night. Jimenez carves one foul, that'll go out of play, and it's 1-2.
Alvarez saved him from being a nightmare inning with his blocks.
He was charged with 1 wild pitch and threw another half dozen in the dirt that Alvarez was able to smother. Josh Naylor with the big hits tonight, 5 RBIs, 2nd biggest RBI game of his career. He had an 8 RBI game against the White Sox last year. Hunter ahead 1-2, and Jimenez bounces.
Ground ball should end the inning, and it does. But unfortunately, the Mets got a big break prior to the 2 runs, but Nogosek couldn't throw a strike, and that caused the Guardians to get 2 more runs. So again, I'm not going to kill Buck for Leone starting the 1st inning. That Carrasco was done after in the 6th inning, but bringing him back out for the 7th, I don't understand the plan there. Again, we haven't seen Drew Smith in 4 days. I'm assuming there's a reason for that. There's a nagging injury that we don't know about. He's sick. I don't know. Drew Smith has been in the game in 4 days. I mean, I thought Drew Smith should have been in the game yesterday, and he wasn't. So there's something wrong with Drew Smith. But to bring Dominic Leone out for the 2nd inning, I didn't understand. So that's on Buck. If you were going to bring in Nogosek anyway, why didn't you make him start a clean inning? I mean, Nogosek could have probably gave up the runs anyway. And I was just thinking about, why didn't Brooks Raley come in? He just coming off an injury. You're not going to pitch him back-to-back days, right? They already made that plan that Brooks Raley is not going to pitch back-to-back days for a little while. So Brooks Raley is out of the question. If you don't have Drew Smith in this spot, the 2 guys that you're running out there is Nogosek or Leone. Nogosek should have started the inning. Again, he couldn't throw strikes, so it would have probably been a disaster anyway. So if there's no Drew Smith, those are your 2 guys you're going to. It's just a matter of why Leone a 2nd inning. I don't understand that. So, and Ottavino and Robertson were going to be 8, 9 guys since they pitched the last couple of days. So, yeah. Yeah, well, but again, explosive. I think we can agree. If the Mets don't make the playoffs, there's going to be some fire-ins, definitely. There should be. But, yeah. So again, unless if Drew Smith is healthy and he didn't come up in this game, I don't understand. But again, we don't know.
Brandon Nimmo leads off
So the
against
Mets are down
San
by
Diego.
4 runs once again.
Slow ball one. Gabriel Arias.
Committee, he
Mitch
might
Grant
be.
for Bell stays in the game at first base for the Guardians.
Wait, didn't Lucchesi get sent back down?
And Hentges falls behind Nimmo 2-0.
Well, we got the top of the order up. We still got 3 at-bats to go here.
Retiring Alvarez on a fly ball.
I wonder if the Mets can try to figure it out here.
As we're down 5-0, cut it to 5-3 before the Guardians posted 2 in the top of this inning. And Nimmo takes it low. And now it's 3-0. Lindor
Brian, where is that coming from? Why would he fizzle out with 40 home runs? I don't understand.
Quantrill went 5 2/3, allowed 3 runs, 6
Well,
hits.
the same way Judge fizzled out in the playoffs.
96 pitches, pitcher of record on the long side. And
Well,
there's a strike to Nimmo.
Well, that's already a stupid question, Brian, because Pete hit 275 last year, so I don't know what you're talking about. And Pete never hit 230 in his career. So, Brian, that's great. He'll have 60 bombs in the in the regular season and bat under 100 in the playoffs. So, congratulations. I mean, come on. Like,
Coming up tonight on Honda Sports Night after the post game, we'll preview Mike Scherzer's start tomorrow. Liberty started there.
I mean, come on. Again, I love how Yankee fans are so concerned about the Mets when they should be concerned about the 3 other teams that are ahead of them.
At the time that he retired, he was the greatest running back by far that the NFL had ever seen. Yes. Great lacrosse player.
Okay, Michael, I agree with that.
Syracuse.
But you also got embarrassed by the Houston Astros again. And you barely beat the Guardians. Let's not act like you rolled through the playoffs great.
And he was stronger than everybody else. He ran around them. He ran through them. He was a force of nature.
But again, you continue to compare the Mets and the Yankees.
12,000 rushing yards.
You know, again, if you're the big brother, Yankee fans shouldn't care about the Mets, but you continue to worry about them, which makes no sense.
There may have been better running backs.
Again, shouldn't you be worried about the Astros? Shouldn't you be worried about the Rays, the Red Sox, the Orioles, and Toronto?
Tony Dorsett, Dickerson, Eric Dickerson.
I just don't understand why everybody's Yankee fans are concerned about the Mets.
Against the competition he played against, nobody was more dominant.
And that's a base hit up the middle, and the Mets got some going here in the 7th.
Stop there. So Francisco Lindor with his second hit of the day, and the Mets are fighting right back again.
And I can probably guarantee you the Mets will score 5 runs once again. I don't know, Michael. That's hard to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the Mets make the playoffs again and, you know, play well, but don't get to the NLCS, what do? You know, it's hard to say that. Lindor's looking a little bit better today, finally. Well, first and second, nobody out, and you got McNeil, Alonso, and Beatty. So the Mets can try to come back in this ball game, which is very concerning again because the Mets give up more than 5 runs once again.
That's up the first 2 men on in the 7th. Ramirez playing on the grass at third, as though McNeil might be bunting here, but that leaves a huge hole on the left side of the infield for Jeff.
No need to play there. You can maybe start there but move back as the pitch is thrown.
And McNeil takes a slider out of the strike zone. It's 1-1. If McNeil can find his way on, that would get Alonso to the plate as the tying run of the 7th. And the Mets once trailed 5-0.
Joe, I'm kind of 50-50 on him. He's not terrible, but he's not great either. So
1-1.
Ball 2.
Below the knees. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, we'll see. At this point, you need 4 runs. You got to get on base somehow.
2-1 from Hentges.
Ball 3.
It's low, blocked by Gallagher, and it's 3-1.
Hentges usually is a strike thrower, but only his 4th appearance.
May 30th. Is that the Howie Rose bobblehead day?
Last year, 2.8 walks per 9 innings.
I think I'm going. I mean, I have tickets for it. I mean, it's 2 weeks away. I have no idea. 10 days away. I have no idea.
He's saying that the pitcher didn't recognize McNeil before he was going to deliver the ball, so he went to the stretch too early.
Similar warning given earlier to Quantrill.
I was a little afraid for McNeil because he's already.
Well, again, I don't agree. Leon should have came in the 7th, but if Drew Smith's not available, you're going to Nogosic anyway. So, ball 4, bases loaded, nobody out. Pete Alonso, tying run coming to the plate, and they're going to put a new pitcher in for sure. All right, so changing of the pitcher. Well, the Mets have a chance here to come back in this ball game. Bobby, you'll be at that game as well. Again, the 30th. I gotta check. Hold on. Let me check, guys. The 30th is Tuesday. Interesting. I'm off that day. Interesting. You know what? I probably will go. Again, I have tickets to the game. As you guys said, season tickets, but well, Ken, I don't even think they know because for all we know, if it's like a nagging injury that might, maybe a blister on his finger. What do we know? Yeah, the 31st. Yeah, so I know I'm going to that game. So let me tell you a little bit of what's going on in the game. If you're just tuning in and you don't know what's going on, you might be at work, you're not listening, you're not watching the game. The Mets gave up 7 runs in 7 innings. They were down by 2 in the 7th. 2 runs scored for the Guardians. Josh Naylor, 2-run single. 7-3 Guardians. The Mets got the first 3 men on. Walk, hit, and another walk. Bases loaded, nobody out in the 7th. Down by 4 runs. Pete Alonso coming up as the tie-in run at the plate. Ken, he might not be. Again, if he's not injured. But again, it is odd that he's not been in the game for 4 days. I mean, Buck loves Drew Smith, as we all know. So, well, Joe, the problem with Citi Field is the fact that there's nothing around Citi Field. So it's not like you can drive there and hang out at a bar, hang out at a restaurant or something like that. That's the problem, So, so here we are. Pitching change. They brought in a righty in the mound, James Karinchak. He has a 4.82 ERA. A lot of walks, a lot of hits, a ton of strikeouts, and 5 home runs allowed in 18 innings. So, and he's been very good with stranded runners, though. So we'll see. Bases loaded, nobody out. Again, we would love a grand slam here, but just keep the merry-go-round moving. You need 4 runs here. Again, the Mets have been hitting big home runs the last couple of games, so.
Bases loaded, nobody out.
Well, great. You can win all the MVPs and the Cy Youngs you want, but they both fail in the playoffs. Come on, Brian. Again, stop caring about the Mets. Worry about the Rays. How about that?
Tries to curve again and gets it on the corner.
I mean, you act like we care so much. Again, what does an MVP and a Cy Young get you? Because that Cy Young and that MVP doesn't show up in the playoffs. Ever.
1-1 from Karinchak.
Ball 2.
Another curveball, and that misses.
Carrasco, Michael. His first game back over a month, so.
Number 99, Karinchak. It's Turkmen's birthday today. Will he throw a fastball? He does.
Ball 3. Well, Cleveland pitching can't throw strikes right now. This is where Pete's got to be patient here. He's probably going to get a fastball, but he's got to pick a zone. Look middle in. If anything, if it's not middle in, take the pitch. Oh, get out. That's gone. Grand slam, baby. Yeah. Tie game. Woo. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Judge wished. Let's go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. 4 home runs from Pete Alonso in 4 days. And Judge has to cheat to get home runs. How about that one, guys? That's what I'm talking about. Keep talking about Pete Alonso, you assholes. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Tie game. That's what I'm talking about. Now let's win this fucking ball game. Let's go. Let's go. Pete's going to get a standing O, baby. Get out there, Pete. Let's go. Come on, Pete. Get out there, baby. Yeah. Let's go. How about that? The Mets have been hitting the long ball. Well, Michael, let's be honest. Has Judge done it in the playoffs? Let's be honest. Okay, Brian, that's fine. But again, can Judge show up in the playoff once? Because Stanton's better than Judge, by the way. Brian, you got to leave. Go to a Yankee channel, please. Because you're not winning nothing. Get the fuck out of the channel. We don't need you here. Go. Please. I'm blocking you for a reason. Again, remember, guys, Pete Alonso's first playoff game last year. All right? Judge had been in the playoffs every year of his career, right? And what has he done in the playoffs? Like, let's stop. Come on. Like, let's be honest. Love it, Stezo. And I don't think Pete Alonso thought he hit that ball hard enough either. But he got it. Let's be honest, guys. Stanton's a better overall player than Aaron Judge offensively, if he stayed healthy. Let's be honest. And let's be honest. Stanton shows up in the playoffs, unlike Judge. Let's not talk about Alonso, who's made 1 playoff appearance with the Mets, when Judge have made, what, 6? I agree, Michael, but we're trashing. Here's the problem. Yankee fans are trashing Alonso. Mets fans are trashing Judge. Why? They're both great players. They're both one of the most elusive power hitters in the game. Who cares? That's what I don't understand. There's no need to kill either one of those guys. That's what I don't understand. That's what I don't like. Like, why do we have to kill Judge? Why do we have to kill Alonso when they're both the best players on their team? That's the problem. Like, does it matter that Judge hit 62 home runs last year when he batted 090 in the playoffs? No, right? The same Yankee fans who love Judge booed Judge in the playoffs, right? Brian was probably booing Aaron Judge in the playoffs. That's the only thing. Like, I just don't understand that. I just don't get it. Like, what is the fascination with that? Comparing Alonso and Judge is unfair for both players.
Marte's 0 for 2. He's also been hit by a pitch. And he takes a borderline strike.
Can't we enjoy that 2 of the pronounced power hitters in the baseball are in New York, guys? That's awesome. You know? And Marte strikes out. God, Marte sucks.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Carrasco after giving up the home run.
Exactly. Like, people are comparing LeBron James to Jordan, even though that's 2 different eras. And Judge and Alonso are in the same era. Like, I just don't get it. Like, enjoy the power from both of those guys. Michael, my point exactly. Right? Exactly. Even though, let's be honest, Judge is a big reason why the offense for the Yankees haven't been good in the playoffs. Yeah, like I just don't get it. Like,
there he is, getting ready in the Mets bullpen to pitch the top of the 8th. Vientos tries to hold it. He stopped it in time on the curve, 2-0.
Put Carrasco back. Well, Adavino up. He wasn't supposed to be available tonight, but guess what? Got back in the ball game. You got to get the big boys up.
Guardians don't play a lot of these high-scoring games. This is not their thing.
Ball 3.
They have themselves a 4-run lead.
I agree, Steven. I agree 100%. LeBron James ain't even close. And LeBron James plays in an era where
Taking all the way, it's strike 3-1.
you can't touch anybody without a foul. Jordan was going to the rim, getting thrown into the stands. Big difference.
No decision tonight.
Oh, Consuelo.
Scored 7 runs in the last 3 innings. 3-1 out of Vientos.
Ball 4. All right.
Ball 4, and the inning continues. Third walk issued by the Guardians tonight, all in this inning. 2 by Hedges and now 1 by Carrasco.
Well, the Mets are showing signs of what they did last year in coming back in ball games.
They're coming home against the Tampa Bay Rays.
Joe, that's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna happen. If Philly trades him, that'd be insane. All right, Mark Canha, who's been struggling this year.
And that's kind of where they've been the last 4 days.
It is. You know what? People only look at the base hits and the home runs Vientos and the other guys hit. Those are the best at bats I like. He struck out his last at bat, and he put up a good at bat this at bat, which I like.
Until you get hot.
Come on, Mark, let's go.
And Canha takes a curveball. Are you shocked by the number of curveballs Carrasco's thrown?
I am shocked. And I think part of it is what we were talking about and saying how many home runs he's given up. He's trying to maybe change the game plan because of his success last year.
Daniel De Los Santos up in the Cleveland bullpen now. They've already used 2 relievers in this inning. And that curveball.
I don't know, Joe. I'm not sure if the Mets want Mauricio up yet. I don't know. I don't know.
It gives you an idea how long this lineup is right now. Right? With the addition of Vientos and Alvarez, all of a sudden 1 through 9, the Mets are a much more formidable group. And Canha takes that curveball for a strike.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. And again, even if he does come up, he's going to play second base. McNeil will go to left field. I mean, I think that's the plan. But again, he does have 8 errors in 15 games at second base. So, you can't be, with the Mets defense infield, who's one of the best in the league. You can't be messing up with the defense either. Come on, Mark, base it. Canha, he did go around, but not before the New York Mets get a huge home run from Pete Alonso. Once again, 4 home runs in 4 days for Pete Alonso, grand slam to tie the ball game. Again, all this means nothing if the Mets don't win this ball game, right? We talked about it against the Rays. Same thing, right? They had when they won with the Alonso walk-off, they had to win the next day because it means it's important. Well, see, look, everybody, now I don't care about other channels and how they block people of other teams. I don't care. I've said this from day one. If you're a fan of another team, I love that. And root for your team because I appreciate that even more. Because one thing I do hate is bandwagon fans, right? Come on this channel with good opinions, good facts, interesting conversations. We can have the back and forth. I have no problem with that. I love that crap. I got a couple of Brave fans that show up on my channel all the time, and they're huge Brave fans. And we all know about JL on this channel. He's a huge Brave fan, but I don't kick him off because he's a Brave fan, just like I don't kick off Yankee fans. I don't kick off Philly fans, Dodger fans. I don't care. You bring good conversations to the channel, it's fun. But when you have conversations and kill Alonso, who is one of the better power hitters in baseball, for no reason, because you think Judge is better, that's fine. And nobody's saying that Pete Alonso is better than Judge overall. But they're 2 of the best power hitters in baseball. And both players are the best players on their team. We should stop killing those guys against each other when we should be applauding that we have 2 of the best power hitters in New York. That's fun. When we play each other, we can have all the fun. Right? We can go back and forth even more. Well, Bravos, listen. What have I been saying about Grissom when you lost Swanson? Again, I said that from the beginning. I thought Grissom was going to be a big problem for the Braves. I've said that. You know, I got killed by the Brave fans that said that, oh, we got Grissom, we don't need Swanson. Well, defense matters. I told you, Bravo. I love you guys. I know you're Brave fans. We get on each other, but I said it. But Mets tied up the ball game, top of the 8th. Ottavino's in. See if the Mets can come back from another game and win.
Well, we've seen him have some up and down.
I agree.
Appearances when he's
But again, it looks like Grissom is right now is not going to be the player the Braves thought at the moment. Well, Michael, you know what the biggest problem with Gary Sanchez was? Aaron Boone. Gary Sanchez was a better player under Joe Girardi because Girardi actually got on his ass. Bravos, I agree. Arcia has been amazing. But is Arcia going to make or break the Braves? No. Grissom was supposed to be the guy. And that's why you didn't sign Swanson. Strike 3. Ooh. Jeez. Well, it'd be nice if Ottavino put up a 0 here. That'd be nice. Matthew, they did it against the Rays. Like, it's crazy, you know? I don't get this team. Like, we don't hit home runs, but we hit home runs the last 4 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, that's why baseball is so crazy. Because it makes no sense.
For Hunter, getting Jimenez to ground out with the bases loaded.
Well, Steven, I mean, Grissom had to show something at the big league level. Like, and that's a pop-up. Oh, it's going to drop. Come on, Nemo. Yeah. All right, Brandon, good job.
McNeil was fully invested in going out and catching that ball over his shoulder if Nemo hadn't gotten there.
Well, you mentioned it before. Not a lot of
Yeah, well, Matthew, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why baseball is so beautiful. Because the Mets can't beat the bad teams, but if you look at their record against good teams, they have a winning record. It makes no sense. Yeah, but Bravos, we all know that, right? Spring training means absolutely nothing. Let's be honest.
That makes a bonehead play in previous innings. He's locked in for his next at-bat to make up for it, as you said.
Again, the spotlight means everything. And look, the Braves have been excellent bringing up these guys, and they've been performing. Sometimes maybe the guy just is not a major leaguer. Sometimes this don't happen. Ooh, nice pitch. Come on, guys. Let's go. You know what? I'm not going to kill the Braves for might be getting one wrong when it comes to Grissom. Like, they've been great with their, you know, they're struggling. You know, they're bringing up their guys, and there's a pitching visit here for Alvarez. Yeah, Matthew, but see, I don't like looking at the Braves and saying, oh, let's bring it up because the Braves did it. That doesn't mean it's going to be the same outcome. You know what I'm saying? Well, Bravos, the reason why you didn't sign Swanson was because of Grissom. If he becomes a utility player, again, he can still be good. Right to Lindor up the middle. Quick 2 outs for Ottavino.
Because Lindor had to play it perfectly 2 out.
Well, see, Matthew, there's the difference with the Braves. The Braves let them struggle. Like Riley, look at Riley's numbers for the first 2 years. He was terrible. Everybody thought he was a bust, and look at what he is now. All right, see if Ottavino can get out of this here. That would be nice.
Ken Gallagher from Lancaster, PA. Where the Amish live. Horse and buggy country. It's where Travis Jankowski is from. Oh, Jankowski was playing great for Texas before he got hurt again. That's been the story of his whole career. He was a breath of fresh air for the Mets early last season. Gallagher spent 6 years with the Kansas City Royals, his first experience in any other organization this year. And he takes a slider off the plate. played 2-1. He's never had
You know,
a 3-hit
I gotta
game.
say something.
Chance for one tonight.
You know who's dangerous in the AL East? The Baltimore Orioles. They're freaking good, man. You know, they remind me of what the Braves are doing now
Held in check
with
by
all their
Bryce
young
Miller
kids.
for most of the night. There's a call strike, and it's 2-2. Two from Ottavino to Gallagher. And the sliders
Nice pitch.
fouled off. Still 2-2.
Well, yeah. You know what, Bravos? Listen,
You can see that Gallagher, he's had a couple of
the
bases.
Braves' talent evaluation, no matter if it's prospects or a guy like Arcia, how can you like go against them when they've been probably the best talent evaluation in baseball?
Outside De Los Santos, and he fouled that slider. Still 2-2.
Well, yeah, but you know what? The pitch got to be better. Like, the Mets can come back all they want, but you can't do this every single day. You got to get quality starts.
Seventh pitch of the at-bat coming from Ottavino.
Come on, Adam, let's go. Strike three. Oh, again, another pitch on the outside corner. Not called.
But now it's a full count.
It's more true than
Agree, Michael.
as much. I thought it was off the plate. Let's see.
It was just off the plate, but man, he's been calling that pitch. Come on, get this freaking guy out. We got to get this guy out here. You don't want Quan coming up. Round ball, should end the inning. Yeah, all right, here we go. Get those bats up in the eighth. 9-1-2. Alvarez, Nimmo, Lindor in the bottom of the eighth. Here we go, guys. Let's get those runs going. Well, you see, and we talk about the Braves. You see, like, I love Braves talk and I love Phillies talk because it means something to the Mets. That's why I love talking about that. And that's why, look, I don't watch the Braves every single day. I don't need to, right? I don't have to, right? I check the scores because they're important in the standings, but I'm not watching the Braves every day or the Phillies on an every inning basis, right? So that's why I love fans of other teams, because you guys watch your teams every day, right? You see what's been like you talked about Grissom. I don't even know what Grissom's doing, but I know because Brave fans tell me, right? Bravo said Grissom has been terrible defensively. How would I know that unless I have to look at the stats, right? I don't see him on an everyday basis. That's why when people say Lindor's not a real, not a star in the game or a really good player, but if you watch him every day, the amount of defensive plays that he saves runs on is absolutely in the top of the league. Like, you don't see that every day, but I'll get a random Yankee fan saying Lindor is terrible when you don't watch him every day and see what he does consistently on an everyday basis. Again, Lindor's looked better with the bat today, but I can count probably 10 to 15 games this year that Lindor saved base hits, saved runs, just based on his defense. So we look at it every day. That's why it's important to have other fans from other teams that bring good content to the channel. Like, I'm looking on, I talked on, I know Brave fans know about Locked On Mets. I'm probably going to have them on next time we face the Braves, because I need a perspective from a Braves fan. It's important. And, I just want people to understand this. Too many people on YouTube think it's only them that need to bring the content. That's wrong. Good content on YouTube is also what subscribers bring to the channel and into the chat. Not enough people do that. It's for all the YouTubers out there. It's not all about you. Remember that. It's about your subscribers that bring content to your channel as well, just so everybody knows. And I think it's important to get content and people from other teams and Met fans as well. All right, so here we go. Enel Santos is in the game. Mets are tied with the Guardians in the bottom of the eighth. 9-1-2 for the Mets.
And Alvarez swings and misses a first pitch slider, 0-1.
Well, Bravos, he's been in the slump since the Mets series, right? If I'm not mistaken. He's been slumping for a while. David Robinson warming up in the bullpen to see if he can come in for a save here.
Slider in for a strike, and it's 0-2 to Alvarez.
Bullpen has been awfully courageous for the Mets.
Yeah, exactly, Matthew.
Make the call.
I don't know. Azuna's a weird player, man.
Talked often about using guys back-to-back days. He did less than any other manager in the majors last year.
Like Ozuna was like garbage last year, and Braves fans wanted to get rid of him. But again, sometimes the Braves front office knows what they're doing. It's hard to go disagree with them, you know, when they make moves. Ball two.
Slider, and it's 2-2. Nimmo on deck, Lindor behind.
Come on, Frankie.
Mets scored 4 runs in the 7th on one big swing from Alonso.
Kendall.
Now trying to get it restarted here in the 8th, tied at 7. 2-2 coming. And Alvarez
Ground
bounces one down
ball.
to third. Ramirez plays the easy hop.
And should be one out. Ooh,
Across the
just
line and gets Alvarez
got him out.
last
Nice
run.
hustle by Alvarez there. Well, Steven, you know, like I said, if you're a Braves fan, you know you would have won that World Series without Rosario and Soler, right? It wasn't the Rileys of the world. It wasn't, you know, Cunha wasn't even there. It wasn't the Albies. It wasn't the Swansons. It was Soler and Rosario, who were big. Like, let's all be honest, right? Matthew, no. They're not the DFA and Marte. He's got two more years left on his contract. It's not happening right now. Yeah, Mike, I don't want to walk off. I don't need that. I don't need that pressure and that nerves. I had enough of that over the last couple of games. Give me 3 or 4 runs and have a nice easy win after this. I can't deal with these crazy games every day. No, but Steven, I agree. But you don't have him anymore, right? Like it's a totally different team than 2021. Like 2 of the 3 guys that basically pushed you to a World Series are not on your team anymore. Rosario is, right? You know.
22-year-old with the Phillies back in 2018. 1-2 coming to Brandon, and Nimmo hits one of the air to right.
Brandon Nimmo hits a fly ball to right field and should be 2 outs.
And that's the second out.
Well, that's the other problem, Bravos. You know, Free's been a big disappointment in the postseason. Really good pitcher during the season, and I know he's hurt. He's going to be out for what, 2 months? They said, if I'm not mistaken, along with Wright, I believe that's going to be out for like a month, right? All right, let's see if Lindor. He's 2 for 3 today. 2 for 4, excuse me. See if Lindor shows some power here.
Watches wide, ball 1.
I agree with that, Matthew.
Or 6 home runs this year.
Bravos, and that's why content is important from other fan bases on this channel. Why I love it.
Takes the fastball high for De Los Santos, 2-0.
Probably, because you know it's going to be on the league minimum. Whoever picks him up.
Best home run here.
I don't want Hosmer. We have enough infielders. Ground ball right to second base. Should end the inning, and it is. So, top of the 9th, 7-7. The Guardians will have the top of the order for the Guardians. David Robinson is coming into the ballgame. Well, Bravos, again, this is what Matthew was just talking about. A guy like Kevin Pillar, who he was decent for the Mets, wasn't great, but he was decent. Kevin Pillar, let's be honest, has been a top player for the Braves this year. Like, it's insane how good he's been. Like, the Braves probably won 2, 3, maybe even 4 games because of Kevin Pillar. He basically won the game against the Mets when they faced us at Citi Field. Hitting home runs all over the place. It's crazy. Well, Matthew, that's what we hope for, right? But again, it comes back to it, right? The Mets, 2 out of the last 3 games, scored 8 runs. Well, 7 runs or more, right? We have to at least score at least 1 more run to win this ball game. Again, it comes back to the same thing. I told you the stat earlier. When the Mets get 6 innings from their starter, they're 9-0. When they don't, they got a losing record. That's a problem, right? Carrasco, we killed him today, right? But he did give us a little bit of length. He wasn't going past 5 innings no matter what. because he only threw about 75 pitches in his last re-up start, right? This offense is scoring 4.5 runs per ball game, guys. Again, the runs per game is skewed, but giving up 7 runs from your starters per game, it's hard to win ball games no matter how good your offense is. You got to get quality pitching. Quality. Not great pitching. Quality. 6 innings, 2 runs is a quality start nowadays in Major League Baseball. You get that, you're going to win those games more often than not. Again, look, I want people to count because people don't like to look at this stat. Check out how many 5 runs, how many games the Mets scored 5 runs or more in the first 46 games of the year. Just check. I guarantee you it's more than half of the games this year. And they lost a lot of those games, by the way. All right, here we go. Top of the ninth. Top of the order for the Guardians. Robertson in the ball game here.
Batting order, Stephen Kwan leads off and takes a cutter inside from Robertson, 1-0. Last time David worked 3 straight days, it was for the Cubs last year in June. So almost a year later, doing the same. And that cutter called strike, 1-1. Kwan is over 3 and a walk. Pop up 2 groundouts, 1 into a double play. He has to move his feet on the cutter inside, 2-1. That's used 6 pitchers tonight. Carlos Carrasco made his return from the injured list, went 5, allowed 5 runs. Dominic Leone got hit for 2 runs, so did Steven Nagosic. That's it sharply.
Ground ball. Nice play by Jeff McNeil. Nice play. Jeff McNeil with a nice defensive play to his left.
Jeff McNeil and a hot shot to his backhand, 1-1.
Robinson loved that.
Robinson appreciates that defensive
Nice play.
Not only the great backhand.
God, Jeff McNeil can play
Watching
anywhere.
From the booth, when he made that throw, Pete was on his way to first. He wasn't there. So he's throwing that blind where he thinks the back is
Woo.
and hits Pete perfectly.
Joe, I'm going to the next one. I'm going to is ground ball. This should be in 2 outs. Yeah. I went to Miami, obviously. The next one I'm going to is Boston, and I'm going to Minnesota in September. I might go to Philadelphia. I'm not sure yet. I was gonna go to Baltimore, but I can't go because of work. So I only got so much vacation time. All right, so big out of here with Ramirez. You don't want Naylor coming up, and you got to get Ramirez out here.
He takes the first pitch curveball for a strike, 0-1. There is 2 hits and 8 career at-bats, including a home run against David Robertson. And he swings and misses, hefty cut at a fastball, and it's 0-2.
Come on, David. Let's go, baby. Come on.
Stop it. Emmanuel Clase. 0-2 to Ramirez. Half swing, did he go? He did not.
Yeah.
So Clase, the closer, is up in case the Guardians get the lead. Probably Stephen if they don't.
Come on, David. This is the huge out here. You don't want Naylor coming up. He's been hot today. On ball. Oh, what a play by Pete. Yeah. Let's go. What a diving stop by Pete Alonso to get that. Wow. That might be the best play of Pete Alonso's career defensively. That ball came up on him. That's a hell of a play. Wow. Mets showing the leather. One of the best defensive infielders in baseball. And the NL East has 2 of them. The Braves are number 2, I believe. How about that? Jeff McNeil with a nice play and Pete Alonso with a great play. That ball came up on him, and the New York Mets can win the ball game in the 9th. The Mets will have up Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso, and Brett Beatty, 3, 4, 5. So here we go, guys. Mets, once again, has come back from a terrible pitching outing by basically everybody except for Ottavino and Robertson. And the Mets have the opportunity to win the ball game in the 9th. So, got the hitters you want up here, guys. Let's win this ball game and take the first game of the series. And we all know how crucial the first game of a series is. Mets win this ball game 3 in a row. How about that? So, once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. Appreciate everybody who has hung out tonight. Yeah, exactly, Bravos. No, Matthew. He hit a 3-run homer the other day, not a grand slam. So, but again, Pete Alonso, 4 home runs in 4 days now. 17 home runs on the season. And again, he is 2 home runs better than Aaron Judge at this point last year. Again, not saying he's going to hit 60-something, but he's on pace for 65, which is crazy. So 2 big defensive plays, and the play by Alonso, that was not an easy play. But all these defensive plays mean nothing if the Mets don't win the ball game. So let's win the ball game in the ninth. You don't want to get into extra innings here with the runner on second. Let's go. Come on.
I mean, in a game that the Mets have given up 7 runs, ironically, it'll be their defense that'll win this game for them if they can score a point here.
Friday night at Citi Field. Trevor Stevens, who's been really, really good pitcher, under a 2 ERA, excellent stats. Come on, Jeff, let's go. Win this ball game in the ninth. Ah. All right, well, Pete had a walk-off 2 nights ago. Can he do it again? That would be fun, Matthew, 100%. I would love that. Let's be honest. That would be freaking fun. New York dominating the home runs? Oh, that would be great. Because, let's be honest, the hell with everybody else. Look, as much as I can't stand the Yankees, you can appreciate Aaron Judge. And that was fun last year. I'm not even going to lie. Like, that was fun to watch. All right, so Pete Alonso coming up. 4 home runs in the last 4 games. Can he hit another walk-off in the last 3 days?
First pitch fastball into the knees for a strike, nothing at all. His home run on Wednesday night was his 4th walk-off home run, tied for the most in franchise history. Everybody's standing.
Ooh, he missed that pitch. That was the pitch right there. Well, they're going after him. Just got under that pitch.
How good he's seeing that ball, especially the down. Seems like he puts a good swing on every pitch that he swings at.
Stephen, though, has him down to the count 0-2. Brett Beatty on deck. Alonso watches one outside, 1-2. Stephen, the 5th Cleveland.
Come on, Pete.
Quattro with 5 2/3. Sam Hankins, James Korechik, Angel De Los Santos, and now Stephen facing Alonso in the ninth.
Oh,
Swinging and missing out with a slider.
nasty pitch. 2 outs.
Strikes out Alonso for the second out.
Well, he's just a nasty reliever, and his ability to go right after Pete after that grand slam home
Well,
run.
that's a good pitcher right there because that was a nasty splitter. Woo. Well, I mean, just look around baseball.
2 out and nobody on. Now Brett Beatty homered in the 6th.
Come on, Brett.
And he swings and misses at another breaking ball. It's nothing at 1.
You know, it's interesting. You use Ottavino and Robinson. Who are the Mets going to use in the 10th if it gets that far?
Takes a late swing at that splitter and fouls it off, and it's 0-2.
So Stephen was in the bullpen and watched Beatty hit that fastball home run to left field. Counters with a slider and split finger for the first 2 pitches here tonight.
Drew Smith is up in the Mets bullpen, getting ready to pitch the 10th if we get that far. 0-2 to Beatty. And a half
Well,
swing,
Ken,
he takes a fastball outside. Inside one.
Drew Smith was available, so he's going to be pitching the 10th if it comes up.
Drew Smith getting ready
Interesting.
for the
Very interesting.
80, trying to end it before we get there. 1-2.
And Beatty strikes out to end the inning. The Mets do not get a walk-off in the 9th. So Drew Smith is coming into the 10th. Yeah, well, Jay, it would have been nice if the pitching actually woke up. You score 7 runs in a ball game, you should win a ball game. Like, it's just that simple. But you see, and now this is where I'm going to have a problem with Buck now, because when you had Dominic Leone pitch into the 7th and then use Nogosek and Smith was available, you know what? The Mets could have won this ball game. Now, again, Drew Smith could have came in and gave up runs, but if Smith was available, why wasn't he in that spot where the Mets could have won the ball game already, right? Ken, I don't even have an answer for that, to be honest with you. I have no idea. And now we're going to the 10th inning and playing fake baseball, because the runner on second, it's like softball. It's like, 40 and over leagues. Well, Joe, you know what? The most important thing in an extra inning, and this is why I don't like the runner on second rule, not because of, the obvious reason where it's just stupid. Why I don't like the runner on second in extra innings is because the away team, right, being at home is to get the advantage because you got last licks in the 9th, right? Or in the bottom half of a last inning. Why I don't like it is because the away team gets the advantage before the home team. That's what I don't like. That's why the rule is stupid, because the away team gets the opportunity first. I think it's stupid. In my opinion, I think at the very least, they should play the 10th inning normal. And if you want to go into the 11th inning, okay. That's why I don't like the ghost runner. The ghost runner gives the away team the advantage every single time. And it puts pressure on the home team right away. Why does the home team get the pressure in extra innings when you're the home team? You're supposed to be getting the advantage with the last licks. I don't like that. All right, so Josh Naylor has been the best player on this team so far today. 5 RBIs for Naylor. Ramirez is the ghost runner on second. Again, I agree, Matthew. If that's the case, they should be on first base at the very least. But again, the big thing is to not let them score 2 runs. That is the problem. 1 run usually happens. No runs would be nice, but let's see what Drew Smith can do here.
Got the walk-off homer. And the first pitch curveball from Smith outside ball 1. It's only the Mets' 3rd extra
I agree.
game of the year. They're 2-0. It's the 7th already for the Guardians. They're 4-2. Eli Morgan next man up in the Cleveland bullpen.
And it popped it up on the infield. That's what we needed.
Beatty in the foul ground.
1 out.
Naylor fails to advance the runner. That's a big first out for Drew Smith.
Ken, I don't know. I don't get that move. I don't. You were down by 2 runs, and you usually basically 2 back of the bullpen arms, and I don't know.
No matter what in this new thing.
Yeah, exactly, Joseph. 100%. It's stupid.
We'll see how Francona plays. There's Arias up for the first time. Getting just 190 for the year. They had a 4-run lead.
JL?
They took
I hope
all
so.
out in favor of Arias. And now he bats in a big spot in the 10th. And he
Uh-oh,
flies one
that's
out.
gone.
Pretty well hit. Getting turned around is Marte looking up, and it's out of here.
Well, everybody wanted Drew Smith in there.
Arias brought in for defense. He hits a home run to give the Guardians
Can't give up a home run to a 190 hitter.
a 2-run shot for Arias, and it's 9-7 Cleveland.
Well,
3rd home run of the year for Arias.
Mets had opportunities to win.
He just never knows.
Once again, let's keep talking about the offense. It's the pitching. Once again.
And a big fly to right field. It's a big, strong player. Made that look easy.
Ramirez floats one just foul down the left field line.
Well, again, even if you would have used Smith in the seventh, who knows if he would have gave up runs, right?
But they're going to be facing one of the elite closers in the bottom of the 10th, and Emmanuel Clase. Taken out by
Todd,
Jimenez, 1-1.
again, the offense is never the problem. It's the pitching. You can't give up 7, 8, 9 runs a game and expect the offense to always come back and win.
Over the head of Marte. That's the first home run Drew Smith
Yeah, JL, but you
has
can't
this
expect
year.
that every game, though.
And it comes in the 10th inning. This goes to show how much Drew Smith has improved. Last year, he gave up 9 home runs. Had not allowed any over the first quarter of the season. But that's
I agree,
good.
Ken. That's what I don't understand. Again, you know, at this point, if you would have used Drew Smith in the 7th and you used Ottavino and Robertson, excuse me, you Leon or Nogosek would have been in the 10th. So it would have been a fucking disaster anyway. You know?
Unlike last year, though, Clase in the American League had kind of the year without the strikeouts that the Mets closer had. But this year, he's come down to earth a bit.
His velocity's been down a little bit. We're 97s and fewer 102s. Speaking of which, have you noticed Aroldis Chapman? He's throwing 104 again.
Well, I mean, Kansas City signed Aroldis Chapman for one reason, that he'd refined that velocity, and they'll get a piece at the trading deadline, or maybe earlier.
At 14 and 31, that's probably a good bet. Again, the 2-2. And Jimenez takes it high and wide, and it's 3-2. Miles Straw, the on-deck batter. I wonder whether overuse is
Ken, very possible.
an effect on Clase this year. He was an American League high 77 games last year. That's a lot for a closer. 3-2 coming. And a bouncing ball to Lindor. Had it played perfectly. And
Two out.
Jimenez 2 away.
Well, Milan, let's be honest. The way the Mets have played this year, Diaz wouldn't have had a lot of opportunities. This game, yeah, maybe it would have been a difference. Right? But again, we continue to talk about, you know,
It's a lot of work.
giving up 9 runs. You can't do that. Like, that's the problem. Too many times this year, the Mets have scored 5 runs and lost. You can't do that.
Coming back for weeks. Today was
Well,
the
Todd, he
third
hasn't been the same
straight
closer
game
as last year, like they
the
were talking
opposition
about.
scored first against the Mets.
No, it wouldn't, Hector. It would be a fucking disaster. Chapman can't pitch in New York. I mean, we're talking about him like he's pitching well. He's pitching in Kansas City with no pressure.
From Smith, 1-1.
The guy chokes in
Mets
New
have
York.
another comeback in him.
All right, Joe. Have a good day. Good night.
Yeah, with a 5 RBI night. And that slider just missed. 2 balls and a strike to Straw. Mets have used 7 pitchers tonight. Carrasco, Leon, Nogosek, Hunter, Ottavino, Robertson, and Smith. And that fastball foul back 2-2. You know you're going to have to sit Robertson at least a day and maybe 2 after working him 3 straight days. Ottavino's now worked 3 of the last 4. Smith was the most rested player out there, but gives up the big hit here in the 10th. 2-2 down to Straw. And he fouls out with that.
Matthew, you can always fix the bullpen
Straw can't move.
at the trade deadline. There's always pieces available. The rotation, I don't know, because any good pitcher you're going to get, you're going to have to give up a prospect. Who are you giving up? That's the problem.
And the slider with the dirt 3-2. The Astros could probably use him right now. It seems like all their center fielders are hurt. Joe McCormick and Jake Myers. Also, Michael Brantley down. Is it Jim Brown jersey?
32. 3-2.
He's ex-LRF.
3-2 count. And the
All
breaking
right, strike 3. Drew Smith strikes him out, but not before. Drew Smith gave up a home run 2-run homer to a guy that's a 190 hitter. Well, like we don't have that many needs. That is the problem. That is the thing that too many people are not paying attention to. And again, Michael Z, but that's not true though. That's not true because the Mets bullpen has been one of the better bullpens in the league, ERA wise. Again, it's it's like let's not act like the starting pitching hasn't been the biggest problem all year. Again, the bullpen has been. Again, we're top 5 in bullpen. Like, let's not act like just because they have a bad game doesn't mean that they're a bad bullpen because they're not. Again, at the deadline, there's always bullpen arms available. The Mets had opportunities to do that last year. They didn't. Like, again, I agree. You can't let this game get away. It's a game where you had nice defensive plays. You came back big time. It sucks to lose this game. Well, yeah, Matt, but have you checked around baseball? There's bad eggs in every bullpen. Like, let's be honest. There's not a lot of good bullpens in Major League Baseball. Everybody got that 1, maybe 2 top guy. After that, it's a crapshoot. And that's the problem with bullpens. Yeah, Barrico, we're not getting a frontline starter. Who are you trading? Again, you keep on coming up with, let's get frontline starters. Who are you trading for that? And who's trading them? Emmanuel Clase is trying to close it out for the Guardians. The Mets will have the ghost runner at second. Good. One big home run ties the ball game here.
But that does go with 15 saves.
Ken, that's your favorite word. Well, Marte is coming up. Marte has done basically nothing this year.
And they'll try and do it again tonight. Starling Marte will be the first man up against Clase. Angel De Los Santos and Tyler Steffen did a great job of calming this game.
Well, Lico, I agree with that. But you're not getting top line starting pitching with no prospects to trade. I agree, Todd.
For 3 tonight, he's also been hit by a pitch. He takes that first.
All right, well,
inside at 98 miles an hour. Ball 1.
Let's go, guys. Came back before. We can do it again. Maybe.
This young man, so much movement and such a velocity. In the air, right center field.
Just got under it. God. So Beatty's gonna tag and go to third.
He'll go for third. Well, that's the first out. And now Mark Vientos will take his rips. Vientos got over 3 and a walk in his second start of the season.
Well, that is the big reason why in extra innings, especially when the ghost runner starts off in the 10th, to only give up 1 run because it's easier to get 1 run than 2 runs. Come on, Mark, let's go. Up the middle, all right. That's an RBI base hit, 9-8. See, it's easy to get that 1 run in. It's the second run that's a problem.
So Beatty with his first hit of the night drives on a run. It's now 9-8.
So halfway there, you know you're going to get something.
Nice piece of hitting. Didn't try to do too much there. No, Todd. And again, Senga's been pretty good. He's been getting better. Quintana was a big. Oh, Vogelback batting for Canna. And Escobar is running for Vientos. Quintana was a huge loss for this rotation because Quintana was the guy that gives you innings, and that hurt this rotation. Of course, Verlander not being there for a month, and Scherzer getting suspended and missing a few starts, that's a problem too. Can Vogie actually swing the bat? That would be shocking.
Takes the fastball away for ball 1.
Well, a few things here if you're thinking about the stolen base. It's very slow to the plate, but the catcher threw out 2 yesterday trying to steal. He's got an outstanding arm.
Best throwers in the
Come on, Vogel, do something, damn it.
And Vogelback takes that one on the inside corner, a slider. 1-1.
No, last year doesn't matter.
He's given up 2 steals this year, none
But
gone.
also, where the Mets are could be a lot worse,
Against him in his
standings wise.
There goes Escobar. The throw by Alvarez.
And he's still second, go to third, go to third. Oh, Escobar, damn it. If Escobar didn't trip at second after he slid, he would have been the third. Well, he got in score, but that's a big stolen base right there by Escobar.
He's given it to you despite the good
Oh,
arm. A good throw by Gallagher.
oh, a basic could score here.
Would have been out.
Rosario bailed out. Yep. Still blocking that ball, but no damage.
Come on, Bogey, get a freaking base hit, you bum.
2 to Vogelback. And he swings and
Yep,
misses at the
not surprised.
Clase, and that's the second out. So Vogelback comes up empty, and now the Mets are down to their final out, exactly where they were on Wednesday night in the 9th inning when Francisco.
Oh, here comes Alvarez.
Ended a game
2 outs.
3-run homer. Now,
Listen, I'll take a base hit here. Home run would be wonderful, but
to tie it with a base hit and win it with a long ball. And a conference at the mound
well,
for the Guardians.
on this other thing as well, guys, remember,
Comes in to talk and
when you're playing all the guys and everybody you want in the lineup, you got guys like Vogelback,
When he came up in a huge situation, they just
you know,
could not lay off
on the bench.
that were outside of the strike zone. Growth comes with times in the major leagues. Let's see how far he's grown in this big at bat.
Josh Hader earlier this year. And he
Well,
cited
it's supposed to
that
really,
when he hit the
you know,
home run.
maybe we shouldn't have gave up
In the
6
ninth
other runs that had nothing to do with Diaz.
Now facing Clase with the tying run at second and 2 outs.
Alvarez got to be patient here. Can't try to swing for the fences. Base hit ties the game.
And Alvarez
Oof.
parks one foul on that first pitch, cutter, 0-1.
Part of the discipline, Gary, in this situation.
Well, Michael, the Mets are letting everybody score runs off of them, not just the Guardians. The Reds, the Tigers, the Nationals. So,
Now who needs a 2-run homer? The Mets bullpen. And Alvarez takes that slider on the outside corner, and now the Mets are down to their final strike.
all right, Jake, I got you, buddy.
Pitch from Clase, perfect pitch from an almost perfect pitcher.
Alvarez digging in. 0-2 from Clase. And a ground ball to right.
Base hit! Run, Escobar! Run! Yeah! Tie game! Yeah, baby! Once again! That's what I'm talking about! Woo! We're back, baby! Again! Let's go! Let's go! Is this the 2022 Mets that come back? Let's go! Wow. Wasn't a bad pitch, but all you needed was a hit. And you know what? We killed Buck with the bullpen. Putting in Escobar for Vientos is a big deal. All right, Nimmo. Come on. Sorry, Todd. Sorry. Come on. Come on, Brandon. Base it. Ooh. Ouch. That hurt. Right in the nuts. Yep, that hurt. He'll put Sanchez in. You already know it. Oh, hit the hand. Ay, jeez, that hurt. Well, Ken, you know what? You can give credit to Buck in this spot. He put Escobar in over Vientos, who Escobar has a little bit more speed than Vientos, to get that stolen base. So that was a good move. You know, Brooks Raley is warming up in the bullpen.
Let's we're down to their final strike before Alvarez struck.
Come on, Brandon. Base it.
Jerry, I can't tell you what's going through the mind of that young hitter in that situation. But I will say the all or nothing swing that he had against Hader months ago, or a month ago, certainly not the same swing he took on that 2-strike pitch to get the Mets in.
Clase unable to throw in any warm-up pitches as they tend to Gallagher. I wonder if that plays a factor when we're ready to resume.
I mean, he'd be lucky to not break his thumb or finger. I mean, it hit right into
It's amazing. He might have broke his hand there. Ouch.
I think he was lucky. Caught a little bit of that fatty stuff in between the thumb and the forefinger. Otherwise, he'd be in real trouble.
And his catchers are tough as nails.
So Clase has not thrown a pitch in, 3-4 minutes?
All right, Brandon, come on.
Catcher one in the infield.
He's ahead on Nimmo 0-2. Alvarez in second with 2 out. Tied at 9 in the bottom of the 10th. Nimmo's 0 for 4 tonight. And Brandon slaps one to the left.
He's not going to get a base hit. That's safe. Yeah. All right. All right. Staying alive. Staying alive. Base hit wins the ball game here.
To vacate the base, otherwise the winning run might have scored. It's a base hit for Nimmo, and now the winning run is at third for Lindor.
All right, Frankie. That run is yours at third.
He had no chance to get a Nimmo at first base. A nice play by Alvarez to come off the base, but the only play there is to hold it and see if
All right, Frankie. Frankie's 2 for 5 today.
Down to this, Lindor with a chance to be the hero against his old team. Nimmo runs it.
Yeah, we won. Yes. Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Woo. Let's go. Ball game over. Woo. Mets win, baby. Another comeback. That's what I'm talking about. 9. Woo. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, baby. All the talk about Francisco Lindor and 3 for 6 today and get the game-winning hit. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Hey, Tom, I agree. But you got to win somehow. New York Mets. Let's go. Let's go. Down 5-0, down 7-3, down 9-7, and the Mets win a ball game once again, coming back 3 times in 3 days. Let's go. Francisco Lindor comes through against his old team for the first time playing his team. First pitch, right down the middle, and he wins the ball game. Let's go. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go, baby. And that's how you win some games. Let's not have that happen all the time. But the New York Mets have finally won 3 in a row. Congratulations. It's about fucking time. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. But, and listen, we talked about it, right? If you're going to bring up the kids, you got to play them. If you're not going to bring them up, trade them. All the kids are performing right now. Vientos got that big hit. Alvarez got that big hit, right? Merry-go-round Beatty hit a home run today. And it brings a little bit of energy to the boys. It's just very simple. But let's take a little perspective about this game. Let's listen to Lindor after the game with Steve Gallups.
In the last 3 days, how would you describe what's gotten into this team here over the last week? We're sticking together.
500.
We're playing for each other. We're playing for everyone here. We don't back down from any challenges that we got in our way. And God is good, man. First pitch swinging against Clase. What were you looking for in that spot? I got to give all the credit to Jeremy. He said, got to get pitch in the middle, try to put it in the upper deck. I did not do that, but it went through. Francisco, in that 10th inning, it was again the kids setting things up. What has impressed you the most about their poise and their ability to make impacts in big moments?
Let's go.
We call them the babies. The baby Mets.
The baby Mets.
Running the bats, running the bases hard, being accountable. And we got to take a hat to one of our leaders, Nemo, down the bat at the end. Just, just put in the ball and play, get things happen. And I haven't done that a lot, but, thank you for sticking with me.
All right, Frankie, there you go.
About doing it in your first game against Cleveland? Winning is always special. Winning is always special. I'm blessed to have my family here, and the fans are sticking by me day in and day out, so I appreciate you guys. Francisco, thanks for the time. Congrats on
There you go. That's Francisco Lindor. And the New York Mets come back 3 times again. Again, it hasn't happened in 50 years. A team coming back for 3 times in a game and winning on a walk-off. They've done it twice in 3 days. Once again, guys, when I talk about offense, and you can talk about the young bats all you want, and that's awesome. This is a different team with these kids up, no doubt about it. But remember the real issue here, as I've been talking about since day one, the pitching has to be better, right? When you score, and again, I'm giving you guys some homework. Go back, look at every game the Mets scored 5 runs or more. And I can guarantee you it's more than half the games that the Mets played. They played 46 games this year. More than half, they scored 5 runs or more. A lot of those games they lost. Remember that, guys. Pitching is always been a problem this year. And if you get a little bit better pitching, and again, the Mets are 9-0 when they get a pitcher that goes 6 innings. Big, big deal. We got Max Scherzer on the mound. He pitched well in his last outing. I want to see it again tomorrow. I'll be going to the game tomorrow if it doesn't rain. Once again, guys, the New York Mets came back 3 times in this game. 5-0, 7-3, 9-7. And the Mets scored 3 in the 10th to beat the Guardians' first game of the series, won 3 in a row, back to 500. And the New York Mets lineup is completely different. And it shows. I know, Stezo, I appreciate. Finally. Usually we have blowouts and it's the other way. But we finally got a win on the stream. I'm like 2-9 this year, so blame me for the losses, not the Mets. But we came back, guys. Everybody who stuck with this team and stuck with the channel today, we're all the real winners, aren't we, guys? Come on. Like I said, there's no doubt about it. The Mets are coming back, and it ended up being over 150 people in the stream, right? It happens when there's bandwagon fans, right? That's what I'm talking about. Again, the stream tells everything. It's very obvious, guys. The people who stick around, those are the people I love the most. Because it's hard being a Mets fan. Let's be honest, guys. Once again, guys, Mets win 10-9 in dramatic fashion once again. Yeah, I agree again. 100%. So, Escobar, Vogelback, and Canner will all be in a lineup tomorrow, and Vientos and Beatty will probably sit. But, again, it's going to rain tomorrow, guys, all day. So, I don't know if there's going to be a game. So, again, I'll keep you posted. If there's no game tomorrow and they call the game, I'll do a little Mets Talk Live. I'll probably draw up Hayden on the channel as well, so we can talk a little bit more Mets baseball. Again, the Mets offense is turned a new leaf. If the pitching can just be a little bit better. Again, we had 3 quality starts in a row. 2, really, with McGill and Senga. It's got to be a little bit better. Again, could we get 3 runs per game given up? That'd be nice. So with that said, everybody have a great night. We can go to bed. Well, I got to go to work. I can go to work smiling a little bit more. And a couple of the Met fans that I do work with, we're going to give some high five to each other. I can assure you that. So with that said, I would say a nice win for the offense. Everybody came through. Everybody that we needed to come through. And listen, don't think for a second that Lindor today, this is probably the first game he looked alive at the plate in probably about 3 weeks. If Lindor starts going with as hot as Alonso has been, we're going to keep scoring runs. The pitching needs to be better. With that said, guys, another W. The Mets are back at 500. That's always the benchmark. Get the 500, and let's start rolling. We won 3 in a row. When the Mets pitch better, this team's going to look a lot even more different than what it is right now, right? Let's see if it can happen. We got Scherzer on the mound if the game is played tomorrow, and you got Verlander on Sunday. So we got the pitchers we want. So let's be honest. We got the pitching matchup. You got to win. With that said, Mets win 10-9 in dramatic fashion in the 10th inning. Have a great night. As always, Met fans, let's go Mets. I'll either see you tomorrow at Citi Field or I'll see you tomorrow if the game is not played. Mets Talk Live around the time the Mets are supposed to play. With that said, good night. Let's go Mets. 3 in a row, guys. Let's go for 4 tomorrow. Have a good night, guys.